stream is starting. Hello and welcome into the stream for everybody tuning in over on YouTube. It is so good to have you in here with us for the day. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time. As per usual, we're going to hop into some debates with some Trump supporters. In fact, we already have our first Trump supporter loaded in on the live. So,
hello, everyone.
Mr. I Do Debating, if you'd like to take it away and tell us why you support Trump, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, I don't really like Islamic immigration.
Okay, so you support Trump because you don't like Muslims immigrating into America.
Yeah, well, he's the one who's like most aware about the issue, right?
Okay,
what issue?
Yeah, why don't you like Muslims immigrating into America?
Well, I think that their religion is like completely immoral, right?
Completely immoral.
Can you say something about Christianity?
Well, I mean, yeah, because like if you want to be able to point towards
okay,
like,
so this is a very
okay.
well, let me just speak here. So
Right. I appreciate it. I don't like it. If
I
I could speak too at some point, that'd be great.
yeah, well, I was just responding to Parker. You can go ahead and speak if you.
You just said that you
Like,
don't like
completely-
Muslims immigrating into America because you think that their religion is immoral. So, I mean, if you're going to say that it's immoral because maybe there's some parts of the Quran where it says slavery is okay, so does a Christian Bible. If you
No,
wanna
that's
say
not
that
why.
it's immoral. Okay, why do you think it's immoral?
Well, I think that their prophet specifically, right? Like, there's obviously a lot of like immoral stuff about their Quran, right? But what I'm aiming at is
Like-
specifically
like-
the prophet.
Like the prophet marrying a 9-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
man,
it-
I agree.
wait,
I agree. That interpretation is like very, very bad.
Wait, hold on. I just
the same way like Mary was
Wait, can
around
I just-
13 when she was impregnated. So,
By God.
yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's a very common like counter argument to say like or to like start attacking Christianity, right? First of all, from what I understand, Jesus Christ was their main.
No, we're just asking you why you don't apply these same sorts of things to Christians, because clearly you hold these applications to people who are support of Islam, but not people who are support of Christianity.
Yeah, well, I see their main prophet as Jesus Christ, right? And from what I know, he didn't like. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get banned. But he didn't do anything to like young children, right?
Wait, for Christianity, it's not a prophet, he's God, right? And God did impregnate.
well, he's
wait.
also a prophet.
Wait. I have a
He's a
question.
prophet, right?
Is impregnating a minor grape?
Was there sexual intercourse?
Does that matter? If you
Well,
use IVF to
well, you
impregnate,
look at the
wait.
definition of
If you use IVF to impregnate a child, is that grape?
Yeah, if I'm not sure what IVF is.
Okay, you don't know what in vitro fertilization is?
No, I don't look into abortion stuff. I'm not.
Okay, well, in vitro
can-
fertilization, yeah. So it is the case that we're referencing like the use of like you make a zygote in a petri dish, and then you implant the zygote made in the petri dish into like the uterine wall of someone, right? And in this case, if it were a child, we would clearly see that as grape, right?
Well,
So there doesn't. So again, in that same sense,
wait, hold
if
on.
God
Wait,
impregnated,
I don't
to clarify,
concede.
let me keep clarifying. If God
Okay.
impregnated a minor, i.e., Mary, then he did something fucking wrong, right?
And then I also have a question. There's like many.
Wait, no, wait, hold on. You just made me like automatically concede to that. I'm not really sure why you didn't let me respond to that. So let me respond to that before you like automatically just force me to concede. Okay. So I would consider it immoral forcing that to a minor, right? But I wouldn't consider it grape specifically. But yeah, I would consider it immoral, right? But when I'm not really sure like the specific case with God, but if they do believe that God did this, right? It was like most likely consensual, I'm assuming, or there was-
Consensual? Wait, you think that a child can consent to being impregnated?
Listen,
Wait,
man,
hold on.
I'm gonna kick you. I've had enough of this for like.
Well, I mean, you can run
like,
away.
I've had enough of this, and
Well,
like,
I mean, this
like
is-
my
this is, like,
amount
really
of like
seems-
listening to this shit in the last 48 hours is just it's over the window. Like
Yeah, well, I understand that it's difficult.
I'm
to
not.
get, like,
I'm not even
absolute-
kidding. I'm not even kidding. I'm just gonna kick you. We're gonna go to move on to the next guys. If you're in that queue and you consider yourself to be a Trump supporter, go ahead and let me know by dropping MAGA with your H double in that chat. Sorry, everybody. I've had enough of that in the last 24 through 48 hours. I am not doing that that anymore today. We're just gonna kick him and move on to the next guest. If you're
Good
in the
on
queue,
you.
yeah, man, I can't take any more of that shit. Truly can't. Let's go to get that next guest up in the box, y'all. Once again, we are just looking for Trump supporters to have some conversations with us. So let us know if you're maggot down below, and we will pull you up. Let's go to get that next guest up right now, y'all. Let's go to get that next guest up right now, everybody. What's going on, Nick? Do you support Trump? And Nick left. All right, we're going to move on to the next guest. For the 10.1 thousand people that have joined us here on TikTok, first and foremost, I appreciate every single one of y'all for being here with us. And if you do consider yourself to be a Trump supporter and you'd like to come up and have a chat with me and Parker about why you support Trump, A, that'd be great. We'd love that. And B, all you got to do is hop in that queue and drop a mag in that chat with your age. What's going on? Do you support Trump, Jab?
I've been watching you guys for a while,
Is it
and
a
I
yes
just
or no?
wanted, no, but
All
I
right,
wanted
I'm
to.
sorry, Jab. I'm sorry for kicking you, man. I do really feel bad, but we are just looking for some debates. We're going to move on. What's going on, Silius? CBS, do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Okay, how do you?
And first of all, I would say sorry. I'm a bit tired, so it's gonna be a bit hard for me to talk. I
What
wanna
time
say
is it?
Sorry for that. Oh shit, you caught me.
Okay, moving on to the next guest. We are really struggling to find anybody that is genuinely curious and coming up in here and having a discussion with us, which is crazy because we have over 10,000 people in the stream. You know, like the fact that we could have like
Dean, you got to
10.6
turn
thousand
back
people.
on your rage baiting.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I don't know. I'm just kind of like out of that for the day, dude. It's been a long day. It's really been a long couple days. I'm tired today. What's going on? Debate rules. Do you support Trump?
I do, yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
Oh goodness gracious! Why do you support the worst president of your life?
Honestly, for me, it's a bit of a religious thing, mainly around abortion. And the second thing was his border policy.
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about that first thing because you said a religious thing around abortion. So you do think that the church should be able to influence the state?
No.
Okay, well
What do
then
you
it
mean,
should.
like
Well then the
Christian
reason that you voted for
nationalism?
Trump
Like,
shouldn't be a religious thing, right? Are you saying like it should be in some ways? Like you think that abortion should be illegal
Well,
because you're a
I think
Christian
that-
and
I
in
think
your
that for me-
within your Christian beliefs, it is the case that that's like a sin. Is that your argument?
No, I don't think. I mean, I'm not like someone that believes in Christian nationalism. I mean, I believe it would be great, sure, but like, I'm not going to sit here and say that because my beliefs are that my religious beliefs are that abortion is wrong, that should be the governing law in America. That's just not the case. That's never how it's going to be. That everyone's going to agree with that. However, within my morals, I do believe I have the right to say, okay, this is the president who's going to stand for what I believe. So whether or not
So
it's
why,
state
so
governed.
why do you think that abortion should be illegal?
I believe that life begins at conception, truthfully.
Okay, me too. So
Um,
so why do you think that abortion
Value
should be
that
illegal?
life, and I believe that life deserves rights.
Okay, why do you value that life? Why do you think that life deserves the right to life?
I think ultimately it is essentially impossible to draw a line for when a child is deserving of life or when it is wrong or right.
What you
For
just you just
example-
drew a line. The line that you just drew is at conception when human life begins. You can't say that I drew my line here, but I think it's impossible to draw a line.
obviously, yeah,
Also,
there's
keep in
no
mind that
line
you're
to
not-
draw if they haven't been
Also, like
conceived.
keep in mind that like you're still not answering my question because my question was, why do you value the life of a fetus?
Because I believe it is a complete human being that's deserving of life.
Okay, so why
Sure,
do you think
maybe
all?
it's not fully developed. I believe that.
So is your argument that
deserve it.
all human beings deserve the right to life?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that's your position, let's like imagine this doctor that works in a brain dead patient at a hospital, and every single year they pull the plugs on like hundreds or even thousands of brain dead patients. But those brain dead patients, while they lack cognitive function, they're still human and alive. And if you
Yeah.
believe that all human lives deserve the right to life, well, then you'd say that every single one of those brain dead patients also deserves the right to life, meaning that that doctor, when they killed hundreds or thousands of brain dead patients in any given year, they're a serial killer.
I don't believe that killing patients in any case is necessarily right. That's just me.
So would you say that a doctor that's pulled the plug on 1,000 brain dead patients by just simply disconnecting them from life support is a serial killer because they've ended the lives of thousands of valuable humans?
No, and I also wouldn't say that.
Okay, why not? Why doesn't
I
that?
also
Why
wouldn't
doesn't
say
that?
that a doctor who-
Why doesn't that fit under your view?
I'll tell you. I would also not say that a doctor who performs abortions is necessarily a serial killer either. I mean, you don't have to talk about brain dead. You could have just made the argument about that.
Why don't you consider them a serial killer?
Because I think that for me, there is some requirements that must be met for you to be a serial killer. I don't truthfully
Like
believe
what?
that these doctors performing these abortions, as well as the mothers who are going to the abortion clinic, I don't believe that they have a full understanding of what they are doing. You can do an act of wrong without fully understanding that it is wrong.
I'm sorry. Why are we infantilizing people, acting like they don't know what's going on? Like especially like anyone, like in general. Like what the fuck is? Why are you doing that?
Especially
no,
especially like a doctor that's pulling the plug on a brain dead patient. I'm pretty sure if there's anybody alive that was fully aware of what they were doing, it would be the literal doctors. Okay, right? And like, I just also want to clarify here: when a doctor does pull the plug on a brain dead patient, do you think that's murder?
No.
Okay, so explain to me how it's not murder to kill an
I think
innocent
it is
human
the-
being
I
that's
think it
alive,
is-
that
I
which you
think it
believe
is-
deserves a right to life.
Oh, wait. I like I said, murder, if you are murdering people, I wouldn't consider a mother who has an abortion a murderer. I'm not that like, because
Okay, then clearly you don't think abortion's murder.
I think it is
That seems like the logical entailment of your position there.
I wouldn't consider a mother who has an abortion a murderer. The reason why is because
Is abortion murder? Or is abortion not murder?
I don't want to put it under the category of murder just because I wouldn't.
Wait, that's totally fair. But then that means you shouldn't make it illegal. You could say you could say you feel like it might be something you shouldn't do, but at the same time,
Hold on,
say
do
it
you
should be
understand
legal.
what I'm saying is like?
No, I don't actually.
Well, let me put a thought together. What I mean is like there is a certain level of understanding that must be met for someone to be a murderer. For example, there is a difference between, like driving on the road, getting into a car accident, and taking the life of someone. Like that's not the same as intentionally going to your neighbor's house because he pissed you off and unaliving him, right? There is a difference, right? I don't believe that mothers who have an abortion are necessarily murderers. I believe that they are doing an act of wrong but don't fully understand what they are doing, and that's my opinion. I wanted to ask you guys something specific on the topic of abortion. Dean, I guess I'll just ask you, do you believe that obviously I'm assuming you do believe that babies in the womb have absolutely no rights, right?
I just think that a fetus lacks the right to life. That's all. Now, when you say absolutely no rights, maybe like there's gonna be like some rights that we'd give to like a fetus or like a dead body, etc. I don't mind going over that with you after we finish exploring your view. Like the exploration of your view so far, I'm not quite sure that I understand it. You're basically saying that they don't understand what they're doing, therefore it's not murder. How about this? I just want to clear up this point. Would you say that it's just as wrong to pull the plug on a brain dead patient in the hospital as it is wrong to kill a fetus? Because in both scenarios, you'd be terminating the life of a human with the right to life.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Do you think that we should make it illegal for doctors to pull the plugs on brain dead patients?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. I mean, I will be honest. I haven't done like as much research on brain dead patients as I have on abortion. I don't know to the full extent of what the science is behind that.
So
but
let me tell you, a brain dead patient. I'll happily tell you. I'll happily tell you here. A brain dead patient is somebody who. Give me one moment here. A brain dead patient is somebody who lacks total and complete cognitive function, right? So their brain just no longer has any function. They have some like minor function in the brain stem, but their brain has no longer has any function, and the only reason they're alive is because of the life support that's keeping them alive, pumping their heart, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they will never experience cognitive function ever again. And the moment they're disconnected off that life support, right, their body dies because they no longer have something to keep their blood pumping, keep their heart beating, keep their kidneys functioning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So that's what a brain dead patient is.
Sure. Yeah. No. Again, yeah. Thank you. I do still believe that is wrong. Just that ties back into my religious beliefs. I don't like. I think all life should be protected. Brain dead or not.
Oh, wait, you say that ties into your religious belief. So ultimately, the reason why you think that abortion is wrong and that all life should be protected is because the Bible says so?
No. That's one of the reasons I'm pro-life.
Okay, well,
But
I don't think that should give you any motivation to support pro-life legislation. Because think about it this way. Do you agree with the New Testament when it says that all sins fall short of the glory of God and all sins are equal in the eyes of God outside of blasphemy?
repeat that. All sins are.
Do you agree with Romans in the New Testament when it says that all sins fall short of the glory of God, typically interpreted to mean that all sins are equal in the eyes of God outside of blasphemy? Do you agree with that?
To an extent, yeah.
Okay, well, can we agree that like the eyes of God, that's going to be like your standard of morality?
We also have in my religion there are differences between sins. I mean, I don't believe that they are all sin is equal.
Okay, well then you shouldn't have said that. What are you? Are you Christian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So like in the Christian religion, here's my thoughts. If you want to say that we should criminalize abortion with motivations pulling from the Christian faith, the Bible, and the moral standard of God, what reason would you have to say that via that same logic we shouldn't also criminalize lying to your child and telling them that Santa Claus exists, because that's also a sin that ingresses upon the moral commandment of God as laid out in the Ten Commandments. If abortion should be illegal because of God, so should lying to your child and telling them that Santa Claus exists.
Well, hold on. Abortion. There is no Bible or scripture that states specifically, abortion is wrong. I'm specifically like you. I agree that murder is wrong, and the unjust taking of a life is wrong. I believe that a child in the womb is human. I believe that it is wrong to take their life.
So what reason do you have to say that abortion should be illegal, but lying to your children and telling them that Santa Claus exists shouldn't be illegal? Because both are apparently sins in the eyes of your God.
Like I said, lying and that is like the craziest hypothetical.
I mean, I think that this is just a resemblance of the faith. Like, if we look at the Bible, can you point me towards any scripture that could clearly describe that getting an abortion is any more wrong than lying? Like, obviously, like we both share that intuition that like murder is gonna be worse than lying, right?
Thou shalt not
that's
kill.
not gonna be a part of the scripture.
But again, I'm not.
Yeah, it says in the Ten Commandments, "Thou shalt not kill." It also says in the Ten Commandments, "Thou shalt not lie."
Yeah.
All right. So could you point me towards any clear description that details in the eyes of God that getting an abortion is any more wrong than lying?
Again, Dean, I think you're going on a bit of a limb here. I didn't say that is the only reason that I am a Trump supporter or pro-life. I said that is one of the supporting reasons.
Okay.
It's
So feel free to give me like secular reasoning for why you're pro-life. But the moment that you begin to give me like reasoning rooted in your religion, and you attempt to use your religious beliefs to justify like running a criminal justice system,
I mean,
form of
yeah, I
legislation,
could talk all about like
one moment is like the moment where your position just becomes completely incoherent, right? We can't just like cherry pick scripture and like say, well, this one action is going to be a sin in the eyes of God, thereby we should criminalize and restrict access to this one action. But then look at these other things that are also like sins in the eyes of God, like lying or telling your children that Santa Claus exists or wearing mixed fabrics on a Sunday, and that we shouldn't, right, criminalize those either, because the scripture doesn't give us any clear explanation that one sin is any worse than any other sin, right? So for this reason, you can use your faith to kind of be and to serve as a foundation of like your personal morals. But as soon as we want to intertwine the criminal justice system inside of those personal morals, it becomes completely incoherent.
I could also get into the reasons of, for one, I don't believe that we have enough science and study research to actually determine. And the fact is, most pro-choice people don't even understand completely when they draw the line for, like, they'll be like, oh, 20 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually insane. Whereas you're working with an organization like Planned Parenthood, that in some states doesn't actually have a line, right? They will perform later term abortions, and that to me is like, why would I support a corrupt organization like that?
Okay, so we could talk about why, like, we could talk about every point you just brought up, but that doesn't respond to or address the fact that I was able to describe how your religion is completely incoherent when applied to run a criminal justice system.
That no, that doesn't matter. If like you're saying, okay, lying is a sin, therefore she'd be illegal.
Right,
That's not
that'd be your view, right?
you're talking about an unrealistic thing. We cannot possibly make lying illegal. You see what I'm saying? So it would be irrational to make that claim.
Wait. Lying in plenty of scenarios is illegal. Like lying in court, is that illegal?
In a court of law, sure, but you can also tell a lie to
Like
your friend.
defamation is illegal. Slander is illegal.
Agreed.
Right?
And
So we do criminalize lying.
And why is it illegal? Because we've gotten those standards through Christianity, right?
No. All of the standards that we have in society are not just through
No.
Christianity.
I'm talking about like.
Wait, now, why are you shifting? One moment. Why are you shifting the goalposts? Like,
I'm not shifting the
yes, you
goalposts.
are, because you just said that. Well, we can't possibly criminalize lying because it says
Well,
it's a sin in
when
the
I-
Christian.
I-
One moment. Let me finish. You said that we can't possibly criminalize lying, even though it says it's a sin in the Christian scripture, because it'd just be like pragmatically impossible, right, to like enforce that law. Okay. Well,
Well, I mean, I
Parker's
was
response to that. One moment. I'm still
casual
not done.
lying.
I'm still not done. Parker's response to that was to point out like a billion ways, right, in which we do criminalize and enforce legislation surrounding illegal lies, right, such as defamation or slander, hate speech, even sometimes too in some other countries. So it absolutely is a case that we can enforce legislation surrounding the legality of lies. So now that you understand pragmatically that is something we can do, would you support legislation to criminalize all lying?
Dean, I was talking about lying to a friend casually, right? Like we cannot enforce that.
Okay, so hypothetically, if we could, would you support legislation to enforce to enforce its criminality?
Yeah, hold on, pause. The anxiety pen hit. I do want to stand up for you. If it was a vape, guys, there would be smoke. We would see it.
It is a VAPE, but I just call it anxiety pin for the shits and giggles. Anyways, no, please go back.
That's
So hypothetically, if we
That's
could
crazy.
enforce if we could enforce legislation on all lies, would you support criminalizing all lies because the Christian Bible says it's a lie? Because the Christian Bible says it's a sin.
And you're talking about like casually lying to your friend, like he should be put behind bars for that?
Right, because the Christian Bible says that lying is a sin.
Absolutely not. I believe
Oh, okay,
that.
so then if you could say that even though it's a sin, it shouldn't be illegal, why do you say because abortion's a sin, it should be illegal?
That is never a claim that I made, like ever. Literally, I said.
You said that you had religious motivations to criminalize access to abortion. That's essentially what your claim reduces down to, is because abortion is a sin, it should be illegal.
No. You asked
So
me
then what
why
the
you-
fuck is your argument? Why have you brought up religion? You've mentioned religion like 3 or 4 different times. If your
I
argument
mentioned
is
it-
not, I have religious motivations to criminalize access to abortion, then you shouldn't say that you have religious motivations to criminalize access to abortion. So now from this point forward, I expect you to give me absolutely 0 religious motivations to instantiate any pro-life view to criminalize access to abortion, because you just affirmed that you are not saying because it's a sin it should be illegal. So what is your argument, sir, that abortion should be illegal?
Whoa. Rage bait. No, I'm just kidding. No. So, Dean, one last thing. I do want to actually like ask you a question. I did come up here to talk about something. I did ask about like if you have any standard for when a child has rights in the womb. You said that you would get into it. Can you explain that? You said you had some sort of level of like, okay, they have.
Dude, please don't deflect.
No, I'm actually genuinely curious. I came up here to like ask that about abortion because I do have like a following
Yeah,
argument.
my standard. Okay, my standard is that I think that access to abortion should be legal to around 20 weeks, because that is when neurobiologists have concluded it is most likely for the ability to deploy any level of sentience to occur. All right, now I've given you my explanation of what and when my standard is, but now we're going to go back to the fact that I was able to walk you down to saying that you do not apply any religious motivations to why you think abortion should be illegal. Okay? So now that we understand that that is not a view that you hold to with any religious motivations whatsoever, What are your compelling reasons that women should not have access to abortion?
Because I believe that life begins at conception. I believe that when a sperm and an egg meet, that is a full human child. I also believe that, or not believe, but I also am extremely anti the Planned Parenthood and the entire abortion organization. For example, you just said, okay, abortion's wrong.
Can we
after
just
20.
hone in
I'm
on the
gonna ask
first
you something.
argument?
Has an abortion
No,
ever been,
because I've been trying to give you pushback against your position
Has an
this whole time,
abortion
and you just
ever
haven't
been
let
done
me.
after 20 weeks?
Has an abortion? Yes, of course abortions have been done after 20
Okay,
weeks.
do you believe that is wrong?
I think that elective lethal abortions after 20 weeks are wrong, but I think that medically necessary abortions are abortions gone by a woman
let me
that was
ask you
great to
this.
be
Do you
to be.
support-
No, I'm still responding to your question. What you will not do is try to deflect, and then when I entertain your deflection, you interrupt me. That's very bad faith. So if you're going to ask me a question, you're going to let me give you my response until I'm done. Is that fair?
Go ahead.
So you asked me the question, have any abortions been performed after 20 weeks? I said yes. You then asked me, do I think they're wrong? So then I begun to explain myself before your interruption. What I was saying was that elective lethal abortions after that point, I do believe are wrong. However, abortions born out of medical necessity or because the pregnant woman was raped, I don't think that's wrong. Okay, but once again, you still haven't been able to give an intelligible pro-life position here because I asked you to tell us why you think that abortion was wrong, and then you told us it's because you believe that human life begins at the moment of conception. Sir, that is a scientific fact, but that scientific fact does not inform us about any moral claims. All right, none, nulch, zero, nada, right? Because when you're making an ethical argument, you have to be able to give reasons for why you think something should be the case. Right? Why individuals shouldn't be able to get abortions or why individuals should be able to get abortions. That's what good and bad means. Okay, but what you're doing is you're just simply saying that it is the case that life begins at the moment of conception, but now you have to give an argument that because life begins at the moment of conception, therefore it is wrong to kill a life after the moment of conception.
Nadine,
And that
you
is
just-
not something you have done.
You just said yourself that you believe that life does begin at the moment of conception. You'd be crazy to disagree with that. I
Right.
agree.
Now you have to give me an argument that the life
hold
of
on.
a fetus after the moment of conception is deserving of enough moral value to hold the right to live.
Do you believe we should protect human life?
Do I
at
believe
all
that we
times?
should protect human life? No, I don't think that human life on its own has intrinsic moral value. I think that things that human life can typically have intrinsic moral value, like sentience or consciousness. But the life on its own, no.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
How is that crazy? Like imagine that there's like a frozen zygote in a freezer, okay? You have a zygote in a freezer. It is a unicellular organism that is never going to be anything more than a unicellular organism. But that zygote is both human and alive. Do you think that it would be wrong if I were to take that and kill it?
It's in a freezer, not in a womb.
Right, but it's still
actively
human and
growing.
alive. So you and me just agreed that human life does not have intrinsic value because that zygote in that freezer, it is human and alive.
That is a slippery slope, Dean.
That's not a slippery slope. That's an objective fact. You and me agreed that human life begins at the moment of conception. A zygote is what occurs after the moment of conception. That's the first stage
I
of
will
human
say this.
development.
I will-
When they
I
put
will
it in the
stand
freezer,
down.
is it dead?
I will stand down on the zygote because I have heard you debate, way more qualified debaters on the zygote argument. I cannot argue that. You will beat me on that.
Right. Well, that's just a really good reason why we don't give intrinsic value to all human lives.
Okay. Do you believe? So you don't. You do believe? They have some sort of right to life after 20 weeks. So, what is your opinion on like the mutilation of a baby in the womb? Let's say 19 weeks in.
What do you mean by mutilation?
Like,
Because if you classify like an abortion operation as mutilation,
no.
and I'll say my opinion is that it's morally
saying,
permissible.
like, would you?
Like if I were to take it up and like put it in a blender for fun.
No. I'm not saying that. Like, okay.
You got to give me an example here. I'll give you.
You
I'll
just
give you my
said
thoughts
so.
if you give me an
So
example.
you just said that. Like, I'm talking. Like, do you believe that the abortion clinic should have absolutely like let's say hypothetically that the women was in no danger and they could just rip apart the baby at 19 weeks and just kind of like tear it out.
Yeah, if it doesn't have the ability to deploy sentience and quote unquote tearing it up is required to perform the operation in accordance with the mother's wishes, and the incentive of the doctor is just to perform in accordance with the mother's wishes in a safe medical like setting. Yeah, I don't think that's
Also,
wrong.
did you say that you were like you don't care if they put it up in a blender?
No, now if you want to like take it like to an extreme, put it in a blender, yada yada yada. Well, I'm gonna hold like a similar position to that I'd hold to like dead bodies. Like I think that it's gonna be wrong to like mutilate dead bodies out of like some sadistic desire. The same way I think it's like wrong to mutilate like the body of a fetus at 19 weeks with sadistic desire. But in a medical setting, to like achieve an end, sometimes, right, like as it relates to abortion, it's gonna be required to like chop the limbs off. Just like in a morgue, it's gonna be required to open their bodies up and dissect their organs. Okay, like the reason why we'd say that mutilation would be wrong in some circumstances is because like of a sadistic desire. However, like that desire isn't going to be present within like a medical setting.
Sure. So you hold the same standard to a, let's say, adult human body that is dead.
Yeah, exactly.
As you would to the body of a fetus who is also dead. You hold the same standard.
Yes.
Although you still say that.
I hold the same standard to like a body that is dead, a fetus that is dead, or even like a fetus that is alive. I kind of look at like a dead body of an adult similar to that I do to like a fetus that is alive.
So it sounds to me like you are putting a grown adult body on the same level as a dead or alive human fetus.
Yeah, very similar. Yep.
So how does that work though? How do you say that?
I don't understand how that's confusing to you. Can you
Yeah.
explain how that's confusing?
Is that confusing?
I mean, you're sitting here saying that like one is less important than the other, right?
Like a dead
You are
adult
saying
body?
that-
I don't think that's any
Well,
more
okay,
or less
in-
important than a fetus. No.
You're saying that an adult grown human, a living, is more important
Yes.
than a growing human in the womb.
Right.
But then when they're both dead, they're completely equal.
Right.
So it's wrong to mutilate the child. Why? Like, I still don't understand
For
that.
the same reasons it'd be wrong to mutilate like a grown adult body that's dead.
That's insane. That is absurd.
What?
I just don't understand that. Your logic is actually like insanely messed up. Like that's
Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's messed up. Like the
no,
explanation
it actually does not make sense.
the explanation is that I think moral value is attributed to personhood. I think only like people with minds have moral value. Now, before like the point when the fetus gains the ability to deploy any sentience, I don't think it's a person with a mind, so thereby I don't think that it has sufficient moral value for the right to life. But guess what? When you're like a grown adult human like you or I, of course we are people with minds, but what happens the moment we die? We're no longer people with minds. Both the dead adult human and the fetus lack personhood. And because they both lack personhood, I'm probably going to treat them similarly.
All right, my last thing I want to say before I head out and let someone else up. You did say that in the case of grape, post 20 weeks, you are.
I have a question. Are you gonna try and post this later?
No,
And be like, I destroyed Dean in a debate. Oh my God, get destroyed, Dean.
I haven't
Dean
posted it.
destroyed on pro-life position.
No. I actually just made this account and like kind of like made it look like I was.
I was just curious because
No,
I
no.
mean, I see those every once in a while. I think they're really funny.
No, they're great.
No, I see them too. There. Honestly, I will say you guys are obviously way more qualified than anybody that's coming up here. More qualified than me. I mean, like I'm not coming up here like in an attempt to like, absolutely tear you apart in a debate. I'm happy to like give you my thoughts, but
Yeah, man. Hey, how about this? I appreciate you for coming up here and giving us your thoughts. I would recommend doing some more research. I think that that's important. Once upon a time, like 4 years ago, I was also pro-life. I debated a pro-choicer. I got stomped on. I was like, well, I need to learn how to defeat their argument. So then I did more research, and it turned out that their argument was
Can
right.
I ask
so
you like
adopted
one
it.
thing though, before I head out?
Yeah.
You did say post grape, okay? Like a grape case. That's let's say 30 weeks in. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think that the mother has any obligation to sustain the pregnancy.
Okay, and in the same case, mother has a baby. 30 weeks later, she just decides, no, I'm not ready. Don't want to do it. Right? She consented to having the baby in the first place. Changes her mind later.
Wait, you said at 30 weeks? Like you just induce labor at that point.
Okay, well, let's say 27, 26, whatever. It's very late.
They could also like induce labor then.
I'm talking about an abortion, Dean.
Right, like a
You
life.
could
So,
induce
you
labor.
understand that like abortions aren't necessarily lethal. They could also be non-lethal. How about this?
Dean,
Could you give me a
talking about
circumstance of this
abortion.
happening?
No.
ever?
You're dodging my question.
What is? I don't even know what your question. Does anybody know what this guy's question
Is
is?
abortion wrong? Is an abortion wrong if
No. You wonder? Okay. What do you? So you
13-year-old
think?
is raped
No.
and let's say hypothetically She carries the baby for 23 weeks.
Like maybe she
They
doesn't know
decide-
about it. It's an ectopic pregnancy that she doesn't know about. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that abortion's wrong then. No.
Okay. She knows about the abortion. Let's say her father, I'm making it a crazy hypothetical just to make a point here. Let's say her father is like makes her carry the baby, right? And then her mother comes along who was maybe divorced, and then she's like, no, she's getting an abortion. That's fine to you, right? She should have access to the abortion.
Yeah.
What the fuck
Yes.
is happening?
Yes. The answer to your question is obviously yes.
Okay. Now, take that, and let's put a fully grown adult, 23 weeks in a pregnancy. She just decides she doesn't want to have the baby anymore, right?
Is she raped?
No.
Okay. Then, 25
That's
weeks in a
wrong.
pregnancy. If she was to get an elective lethal abortion, that would be wrong. Yep.
Okay, so
You're gonna ask me what the difference between these two scenarios is?
if you had an ultrasound of both of those babies in the womb, like how do you separate them?
I'm not,
Like,
I'm
why
not
did
saying
you-
that it's wrong in one scenario and not wrong in the other scenario because of anything to do with the fetus. It has all to do with the obligation which the mother would have to sustain the life of the fetus. It's no obligation on behalf of the 13-year-old because she didn't consent to the sex, nor did she consent to the pregnancy, and her father literally prevented her from getting an abortion prior to this point. She's absolutely no obligation to provide the product of said grape, her bodily resources for any reason whatsoever. Thereby, she's well within her rights to revoke that consent to provide her bodily resources to the fetus and get an abortion.
Okay, so a mother who has, let's say, a born child and then realizes later in life that she cannot support that child in any case, she can murder that child because she
No,
can't
because
support
parental
it.
obligation exists as well as you could exchange the obligation to another individual. However, in the context of abortion, right, it said parental obligation would not exist and she cannot exchange the obligation to another individual.
Okay, cool. All right, good talking, Dean.
Cool,
Yeah,
appreciate you. All right, we're going to move on to the next guest. Here we go, everybody.
There was no resolution there. I feel like there was nothing. He was just looking to talk to you about abortion. He wasn't even looking to debate you about Trump.
Yeah, low-key. Oh, well. Well,
Dude,
there's
I
an hour to
hate
the
when
stream.
people do that. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like they just come to specifically talk about a certain topic and they're not trying to talk about politics at all, but they want to like only talk about the topic and then they won't go any further than that.
I mean, I don't mind. Like, a lot of people have, like, incredibly misled views about abortion. I think it's important to have these conversations so individuals can have, like, more, like, sorry, not more, but better views on abortion. But it is a little bit annoying. I agree. Let's go to move on to the next guest real quick. Yo, Riley, thank you for the $5 over on PayPal saying, Dean, take a break if needed. Honestly, I was pretty close to taking a break today. I'm not going to lie, but I appreciate you for the $5, Riley, while we're loading this next Trump supporter up in the box. Thank you so much, Riley. As well as Charles, dude. Charles with a $100 donation over on PayPal. Charles, thank you so much for the love. Charles says, thank you for schooling these demented lost souls. You are the GOAT, dude. Charles, I love you, man. Thank you so much for the $100 donation. While we're working on getting the next Trump supporter up in here, if y'all could spam some W Charles down below in that chat, I would love y'all forever. You guys seriously show some love to Charles. Holy crap. Thank you so much. Man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Charles over here, as well as Holly with $1 over on Venmo. And Lindsay with the $5 over on PayPal. I appreciate you guys. If you're watching and you'd like to support me, you can find my PayPal, my Venmo, and the link tree in my bio on TikTok, as well as in the pinned message on the YouTube stream. Get 100% of the proceeds, as well as I'll get a notification like I am right now for Samantha, sending $1.50. Thank you, Samantha. And I'll be able to read off your name as well as any and all attached messages. But welcome in, Alex. Do you support Trump?
So I am slowly becoming converted, and not in the sense that like I believe in Trump. I think Trump is, the word was deplorable and it fit perfectly. He's a disgusting human being. But what I'm saying is, as somebody, as like the son of Black revolutionaries and like had literal Black Panthers as grandparents, this is the most unpopular I've seen being white. And I mean that as, you know, the people who subscribe to white supremacy, not just having skin color. I'm talking about it's unpopular to be a white American right now. Like, I could go anywhere in the world and they might hate me because I'm an American Black, but they're not going to hate me the same way that they're hating MAGA people right now wearing their hats and whatnot. And the
Did you
reason I
just
say
equate
this-
being a Trump supporter wearing a MAGA hat to being a white American?
No. I'm saying that, like, right now, if you
Okay, I'm
like
sorry. Let's
Black
just clear this
people,
up. Do you support Trump?
I support what's happening because of him.
Okay, so did you vote? Did you vote for Trump?
I personally couldn't, but
Okay,
I
if
believe
you could
that
go
he-
back in time, would you vote for him?
yes,
Okay, why?
because He is the worst thing that's ever happened to America, and nothing will change in this country
Yeah,
until
not
people.
entertain that argument, buddy. That's a pro-Hitler argument, by the way. Pro-Hitler arg, by the way, just putting that one out there, saying that he's so bad he will inspire a great social revolution to restructure the country and bring in great progressivism. But yeah, that's what people said about Hitler, bro. Oh my God, Germany was so bad. They just needed Hitler to go in there and spark a social revolution. Yeah, no, bro, I'm good off that. We're gonna move on. What's up, Sonny? Do you support Trump? All right, Sonny's not even here. Parker, how do you feel about the guests so far today, man?
Unhinged. I feel like the guests today have been unhinged. I feel like it's been like that the past few days, just straight unhinged.
Yeah,
And I
man.
thought at the beginning of my stream maybe it was a little bit different, but then it started getting unhinged later on, and then this live. I feel like it's been more unhinged since I got on your live. I feel like my live was a little bit less unhinged.
Yeah, but this one's been pretty unhinged so far. Also, yo, Anthony, thank you for the $5 over on PayPal. Say no need to thank me. I'm going to thank you anyways. Thank you for the $5, Anthony. Let's go get that next guest up here. Going to drop a mag with your age down below in that chat. We'll get you loaded into the live, y'all. Everyone just do be patient. And then also about that last guy's argument that like, oh, he's so bad he's going to like spark like social change. Think about it this way. If there's like a woman that was great, and then because she was great, she went on to be like the strongest women's rights advocate ever, and like just like her advocacy led to the end of grape culture and misogyny in America, we would say like the impact that she had was great. However, it doesn't justify, right, like that original action of rape. You know what I mean? So even though like those other actions were all a result of that rape happened in the first place, which caused her to become like a social justice warrior. But we wouldn't say that she should have been raped. She shouldn't have been raped. And if we could go back in time, we would have prevented the rape. But we're still trying to get that next guest up in here. Let us know if you're MAGA. We'd love to load you in. We got Mitch loaded into the live right now, y'all. Everybody just be patient. Welcome in. Do you support Trump?
I support Trump in the fact that I support the office of the president.
Oh, Jesus. So you support Trump for the same reasons you supported Biden?
Supported Biden quite a bit more. Oh, I'm 40 years old. Obama's by far the best president I've ever had.
Okay. All right, okay. So not only do I think that your argument is an obvious like cop out, like I don't know what's going on with these weird like cop out arguments.
It ain't a cop out. It's a question. If you got a moment.
So the reason that's a bad reason to support Trump is because we shouldn't remove accountability and just basically respect and support a president because they're the president. If anything, it calls for more accountability and more criticism of what they're doing because they're the president. They hold so much power that can impact the lives of day-to-day Americans. We shouldn't say that we just support whoever is in the Oval Office because when they have that power of the Oval Office, they're able to do a lot. And hidden check and balance in the American democracy or American republic, whatever you want to call it, is going to be the social support of the people, okay? Right? Even after an election, when we like vote for a candidate and like they're inaugurated into office, like social support for or against the actions of a president can still allow or prevent a president from like partaking in said actions. And if like the president is doing bad things, like we should obviously like revoke our social support. So you can't just say because he's president we should support him.
Okay. Well, it wasn't him that supported. I meant more as the position of the president.
All right, Mitch. Well, like then you're obviously just in the wrong live. What's going on with these people? Like I want to find MAGA. Guys, I only want to talk to you if you're MAGA. I don't know what's going on, y'all. We're going to move on to the next guest. Guys, go to drop a MAGA with your age down below in that chat. We'll get you loaded up in here right now, everybody. We're just looking for a single debate. We're just looking for a single debate, y'all. We're just looking for a single debate. Everybody just do be patient. We got Lee loading up into the live. Also, everybody should go like my recent post on Twitter. I'd actually really appreciate it if you would. For like the last 48 hours, I've been getting called a P3 Like I even just saw somebody in my chat say that somebody needs to check my laptop because I was checking a husband and a wife for literally thinking that they had the ability to consent for their children to engage in sex or to be perved on by older men. And like the MAGA's takeaway from that was like apparently somehow they thought I was saying children can consent. Y'all should go like my most recent tweet on X. It is 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And this couple is straight up defending exploitation of children as long as it has the consent of the parents. You guys should go like that. I'd actually really appreciate it if you guys could help me get that tweet more visibility. But anyways, Lee, welcome. And do you support Trump?
I do.
Phenomenal. How old are you?
34.
And why do you support Trump?
Support him in a variety of areas, including tax policy, immigration policy. I was
Lee,
actually
have I talked to you,
talking
Lee?
with Parker yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to yesterday, but my phone died, so I dropped. But
How long did you talk to
I got
Parker?
it charged. Yesterday we talked maybe 5 minutes and then it died.
Okay, Parker, do you want to talk to him again?
For you said for 5 minutes.
Yeah, you asked me to look up something relating to the GDP for Q1 2025. I did and wanted to talk about it.
Okay, sure. Actually, I will. So then, how do you feel about the fact that it decreased since Trump's got in office?
Yeah, so it took a 30-second Google search to figure out that it's simply an anomaly because of the way imports work. Imports are a negative on GDP. So after tariffs were announced, essentially everyone rushed to bring in, their product into the US before the tariff deadline, and that caused a massive, massive, massive drain on GDP. I saw that it was estimated around 4.8%. My expectation is that future quarters of GDP will be higher as a result of it because they're not going to have as much negative imports into GDP. It's a very simple explanation.
There's no good evidence that the negative impacts we saw in terms of our economy will then correspond with higher increases. No good evidence of that.
It is if companies rush to bring
What's
in
the
their
evidence?
product, it's a very intuitive argument. If companies rush to bring in their product, it stands to say that in future
But
quarters,
the tariffs aren't in place, so they're not rushing in to make their products.
what I'm trying to say is that the negative impact to GDP isn't going to be there as much in future quarters as a result.
Okay, yeah,
It was
sure. Because
quantified. It was quantified.
because it's been paused, but we still wouldn't have seen that decrease in the very first place if it was the case that Donald Trump never imposed the tariffs.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is that negative GDP, or let's call it flat because it's really close to flat, is literally driven purely by imports. That's it. It's a very simple explanation. It's a big reason why the Fed didn't do anything from an interest rate standpoint. I think Jim Powell he even explained it. Hey, this is just a result of imports. It's a blip. We expect it to go away. He said it himself. The economy is very strong. So, I researched it. It was a very simple explanation. That's
So, like,
also why
would we have seen this negative impact if Donald Trump never imposed the tariffs in the very first place?
we wouldn't have.
Are you? Wait. I'm sorry. I was a little bit tuned out. You're saying that the reason we saw a decline in our GDP in the first quarter was because of a surge of imports?
That's correct.
So I actually agree with you.
massive surge.
Yes. So
A
we
massive
saw.
surge.
I actually know the very specific amount. It was a 44% increase in tariffs, and you are right. So the two-sided reasons for a reduction in the GDP in the first financial quarter was a 44% surge in imports, massive surge, and then we also saw a massive plummet in consumer confidence. So what caused that massive surge was a bunch of companies needed to get the goods to sell to the American consumers that they bought outside of this country in this country before Liberation Day, which was when Donald Trump imposed his tariffs, and then the reduction in consumer confidence was once again caused by that threat of tariffs. So this still doesn't deny the claim that Donald Trump's policy caused a reduction in the GDP in the first financial quarter of this year. It just simply explains it, and I agree with your explanation.
Yeah. And like I said,
that's kind of getting around to my point, Lee. Like, you understand that that's not describing what I was asking for, right?
No, what I'm saying is that it's what I asked for yesterday, Parker, was to say, let's give it a couple quarters before we measure Trump on GDP, because realistically, one, he wasn't sworn in until January 20th. Two, there's a lot of noise with tariffs, which takes a while to shake out in the market economy. So that was just what I was saying.
Wait,
I think,
no.
Parker,
We could attribute that massive surge, which caused the reduction in the GDP to Trump's threat of tariffs. That's what caused it. So no, actually, you agreeing that is one of the main reasons for a reduction in the GDP in the first financial quarter is agreeing that Donald Trump caused it.
Yeah. What led to that?
Yeah, there's a threat of tariffs that led to that, man.
Yeah, and I completely agree that's what it was. But to me, the number in of itself is going to be inconsequential. It doesn't mean anything because it's a blip. It's going to go
It's not
away.
inconsequential. Like, you understand that multiple percentage points increase in real GDP is talking about literally trillions of dollars.
But how about this? How about this? No, he's just saying that a reduction in the GDP for the first time in years, one of the only countries in the world to see a reduction in our GDP in that financial quarter is just inconsequential. Okay. So if that is inconsequential, why do you support Trump? Because we'll just accept it. Okay, you're demonstrating cult-like behaviors, a potential recession is something you don't care about. So what do you care about? Why do you support Trump?
Well, I'm a fan of what's in large part in the big beautiful bill.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay,
That's
well,
one big thing.
Name a provision in the big beautiful bill that you like.
real quick, before you talk about that, I need to thank two people here. Braylon, thank you so much for the $40 over on PayPal. Let's get 400 Braylon W's down below. Braylon says, I'm glad you seem to be doing okay despite all the death threats you've been getting, man. Love you. I appreciate that, Braylon. Yeah, man, the last couple of days have definitely been a little rough. Okay, let me tell you. But you know what? It's just... It's a reaction that I have to expect from the right when I'm able to demonstrate that these people are fucking insane. It just is what it is. Just got to learn how to deal with it. It's just it's a fact of reality. As well as J Mule, thank you so much for the $50 over on Super Chat. I do really appreciate you for the love as well, J Mule. Let's see 500 J Mule W's down below. J Mule says, religiously motivated or not, why would a patriot wish to strip rights from for all the dumb beliefs of others? Answer is simple. Don't believe in abortion. Don't fucking get one. Nothing can happen without God knowing or allowing it. Let the cells go to heaven. Yeah, for real, man. Let the cells go to heaven. Could have said it better myself. Appreciate you for the $50, J Mule. As well as Cinda, thank you so much for the $10 on Super Chat, saying, just wanted to show you my appreciation for all the work that you do. I appreciate that, Cinda. That is incredibly kind of you. Now go ahead and take it away. You said that you support Trump because of the BBB. Why do you support that? I mean, I'd say like one of the biggest issues with it is, of course, like, possibly kicking 17 million people off of Medicaid. Like, that is really fucked, bro.
Hannah, thank you for the $15. Chris with the $10, and Anthony, thank you for the $5. Thank you.
Yeah, the Medicaid portion is one of the parts of the bill that I'm a fan of in terms of the raw number of people that will get removed from Medicaid. I think I've seen a ton of different estimates from that one. So I think 17 million is probably the highest estimate I've heard so far.
Yeah,
all the
it
estimates
is.
I've heard are in the
second-
5 million range.
No, CBO, the CBO, which is ran by Republicans, reports 12.
Yeah, I've heard a variety of different estimates. The one I was operating off of recently is in the 5 million range.
Okay. You know what, man? Instead of me debating like which estimate we should trust, at the end of the day, regardless of whose estimate we should trust more, there's still going to be millions of people kicked off of health insurance in this country because of the bill. I feel like that's bad enough. Like 5 million is bad enough.
Let's talk about that a little further then. Okay, so whether the number is 5 million or 17 million, if there are provisions in there for people to retain their Medicare, and I think those provisions are attainable, right? You work a certain amount of hours, you look for work, or you volunteer.
I completely disagree with a work requirement. Completely. I think that's incredibly bad. There's two big reasons why I think that's bad. The first reason why I disagree with the work requirement is because of the administrative burden. So Arkansas, I think this was a couple years ago, they introduced a work requirement for their statewide Medicaid. And that led to 18,000 people being kicked off of Medicaid, not because they didn't work 80 hours a month, but because they couldn't do the complex paperwork, right? So the administrative burden of all the paperwork that is involved, right, is incredibly fucked and unruly and unjustly kicks people off of the services, even if they meet that work requirement. The paperwork is the issue. And then my second problem with the work requirement is I don't think that policy for healthcare is supposed to be policy to incentivize employment. I agree our government should have policy to incentivize employment. I think that is a great thing. You and me can agree on that. That's bipartisanship right there. But I absolutely don't think that healthcare policy should be the policy to take up that role to incentivize employment.
I agree. In a normal world, we wouldn't do that. But I also would love for you to admit that Medicare was not intended for the amount of people that have been added onto it in, the last 8 years, I think is when it started. It wasn't intended it was intended as a safety net program, not as anybody and everyone could get on it if you meet this basic criteria. The states that are struggling, the ones that are most impacted by, in terms of raw numbers that will be removed from Medicare as a result of the big, beautiful bill, because those individual states like California, like New York, who opted into expanding eligibility for Medicare. A state like Texas does not have this problem with the big, beautiful bill.
What? No, 900,000 people are going to be kicked off of Medicaid in Florida alone.
I didn't mention Florida. I mentioned
that's a red
Texas.
state. That's a red state. That's your argument.
I didn't say red versus blue. I said this is driven by states that opted to expand Medicare eligibility.
What was the expansion that is now being rescinded?
I believe it just has to do with income and relating to that state's poverty line. I think that was the big piece.
This idea that you have that no Texans are losing Medicaid is ridiculous. Just look
As
up
a
how many Texans will lose Medicaid, right? In big beautiful bill.
Oh, then also what
I-
you're saying right now is true. So like a lot of the people being cut off of Medicaid in like Colorado, for instance, are people that make like $20,000 per year. And why I say that is because Colorado opted for an expansion of including everybody that makes under $22,000 per year. But now what the BBB does is it places a maximum cap on an individual's income to $16,000. Okay, not accounting for like the inflated life of living in one state compared to another. It is a federal maximum. So everybody in Colorado making between like 17K and 22K that did qualify for the ACA will no longer qualify for the ACA. I think that's
Yeah,
fucked.
and-
How could you sit here and tell me that somebody who makes $18,000 per year does not deserve this health care?
I believe if you're only making $18,000 a year, I don't know what Colorado's minimum wage is, but you're probably underworking by a significant amount. I mean, that's like you're making how much an hour to get 16 grand? $8 an hour, maybe?
Maybe you're underworking because you have kids at home to take care of. Maybe you're underworking because you have a disability that hasn't been checked by a doctor, so you don't qualify for Social Security or unemployment benefits. Maybe you're not working enough because you're going to school. There's about a billion reasons here, or maybe you're
Yeah,
just not working. Maybe
you
you are
brought up an
working enough,
excellent point.
and then you're not doing, you know, like the required paperwork to fill out for the state. At the end of the day, man, there's going to be people kicked off of this that make nothing, that can't pay for the healthcare on their own. That's going to have a significant impact on their quality of life. And if your automatic response to that is going to be to say, well, they're just not working enough, they need to work more, and they'll either qualify or make more money. Once again, I don't think that Medicaid should be policy that incentivizes employment. I don't. It shouldn't be one. Not at all. We should categorize policy very differently. Some policies should just help people, then other policies should incentivize more employment. I'm so down to have other policy that incentivizes employment, just not if it's healthcare policy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone
now-
should get health care, point blank, period.
I agree. So to rebuttal the example you came up with, and I think and maybe you just came up with the example just because it was the easiest one to cite. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about the big beautiful bill is the fact that families are going to be taken off of it. Everything I've seen so far up to this point, it's people with no dependents, no kids. Those are the majority of people who are going to be impacted by the provisions in the big beautiful bill. I think at best you're misrepresenting who's going to be impacting by the changes that are coming up.
Actually,
It's not
that's
people
you
with
were
kids.
misrepresenting it, because based on analyses I've checked, even from the Senate themselves, said that 1.4 million people or 1.6 million people overall would lose ACA and Medicaid coverage.
Those 1.4 million people, Parker, what is their household makeup? Could you describe it to me?
That's not the data that I'm looking at right now.
Also,
that's just from the Senate.
It's
But
families.
does it matter?
It's families with children that are over 14 that the work requirement applies to. So, like, for instance, I was actually, I don't want to get too personal. I was on Medicaid growing up. I was. And because of my mother. If I was 15, living with my mom, and the big, beautiful bill was signed into law, I'm not going to give you the specifics, but I wouldn't have had health insurance. Right? That is fucked. I don't think that's okay to do. That's not a good thing to do at all.
And if you're above the age of 7, you wouldn't have had food stamps.
So what I'll say to that is, again, I agree, Dean Parker, that in an ideal world there wouldn't be any provisions tied to work with healthcare, but oftentimes, and the big issue here is that states expanded Medicare eligibility to tie the two together. Unfortunately, this is something that was done at the state level. So
Then why are there
can't-
cuts in every
Stop
state?
lying. This is the first time there's ever been a work requirement for Medicaid ever. Stop lying.
That's not true. We're going to have to pull up some Clinton videos, some Obama videos. This is not true at all, Dean.
I think there is a work requirement that has existed before, Dean. I think
that's
that's,
actually
I think
why
they just made it
that's
more.
definition.
I think they just made it strengthier.
That's
stronger,
what
but
I
that
read
might
off
be-
of. That's what I read off of the CBPP. So I mean, maybe the CBPP was wrong, but I mean, I read an article on on CBPP.org.
Yeah, I would
said,
take that
This
over
is the
just what I
first time
thought.
we've ever seen a work requirement introduced to federal Medicaid.
Yeah, no, it's been in there. There's that's the definition for an expansion state. It states that
you know what?
loosen-
You know what? I think it was in reference to SNAP or something. I don't know. I think it was in reference to something else. I'll actually check.
I think
honestly-
for Medicaid they existed. I don't know if it was for SNAP.
One part of the bill that I haven't looked
Um,
into as much is the
actually-
SNAP benefits.
Hold up, you might be right with Medicaid.
Yeah, what the fuck? I was right. Yes, the big beautiful
Yeah.
bill is adding work requirements for Medicaid recipients for the first time.
Yeah, so you were right.
I told you I read it off of a really reliable website, a really reliable website, the CBPP.
Yeah. That's why when you said it was from there, I was like, yeah, I'll take that over what I just said.
So to me, I haven't read as much on it with respect to SNAP. I also, at one point in my life when I was younger, had SNAP benefits. So I understand.
How old were you?
You know, I was very young, under 5. I don't remember the
Okay.
age, but very young. Most of it was for probably formula, that kind of stuff. So
And those things are
um,
important, right, for families.
yeah. So that piece, I haven't done as much research, so I'll table that for now. I'll do more research on it, come back future date. But Medicare specifically, that one I am a huge fan of the way it is being implemented. It's just we've gotten to the
cuts
point.
to Medicare, or
I the eligibility changes to Medicare. Yes, I am a fan of them.
why?
I'm also fans of other parts of the bill.
Why? What specific requirements are you?
By the way, we're talking about Medicaid. You keep on accidentally saying Medicaid. Medicare.
Yeah, you're right. I fumble the two all the time.
Because
but you're
the
right.
thing
It is
is,
Medicaid.
within the bill, there are also Medicare cuts as well that are coming.
So
That's because of the Pay as You Go Act.
So can you just tell us at the end of the day, do you support the millions of people that will lose healthcare access in this country, either because they're not working enough, and the children that may also lose access to Medicaid because their parents aren't working enough, as long as they're over the age of 14? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so you do support that. Why?
Yes. We need to. I don't support the original expansion,
Okay,
and I am
you're not
a
telling
fan
me why
of.
you, what? Okay, I need you to be more specific. So when you say that you
They
don't
should have
support the
never
original
been on it.
expansion, I need you to
They
tell
should
me
have
what
never
that
been on
means.
it. Yeah, they should have never been on these benefits.
Okay, why?
Dean. Medicaid was not intended for them.
Oh, okay, what expansion are you talking about that included them?
The work piece, the income portion.
Okay, I need you to be very specific here. Like, when was this expansion passed? By whom?
I'm gonna have to, if you
Was
want
it
to bring someone else up.
was it a federal expansion?
Yeah, Medicaid
So
in
okay,
general
wait.
is
To
it's
clarify,
federal.
the states expanded Medicaid because Congress gave them the power under the ACA.
Yeah, so this is Obama's. I believe it's a result of the
Wait.
Affordable Care Act. Exactly.
Yes, that's what I just said. The Affordable Care Act gave states the ability to be able to increase that. I'm confused how that's bad.
It's not bad per se. I think what happened, and this is why I think it was a flawed strategy from day one. I think what I voted for Obama. I mean, I was 18 when
Wait, but this
first person
expansion
I
is
ever
about
voted
income. We're not. But you said there was an expansion about like work requirements. There was never any expansion that no longer required
it's a
work
different claim.
requirements. So now you're making a different claim. So why do you support taking off people that don't work 80 hours a month off of Medicaid, as well as their children off of Medicaid, as long as their children are over the age of 14?
Medicaid is not intended for them.
Why? Why do you say that? We've
Medicaid
never had work
is
requirements at all. We've never had any work requirements. This is the first work requirement ever for federal Medicaid.
So for me personally, this goes back to the whole incentive structure, right? If you allow people to not work for years on end, and then think they're going to be eligible for benefits, because hey, they don't have to go back.
Oh,
Why
now,
should they be eligible for that benefit?
now it's about
Why?
the incentive structure. This is when I go back to this clip. Do you agree that maybe healthcare policy shouldn't be policy to incentivize employment? And there should be
They should
other
be
policy
decoupled.
to incentivize
They should be
employment.
decoupled.
They
That's
should be-
correct.
They should be separate?
Yes,
Okay,
100%.
so then even if you want to argue that this healthcare policy doesn't set forth an incentive structure to incentivize employment, well, because they should be decoupled and separate, you shouldn't care.
No, I do.
So
Medicare,
then you do
Medicaid.
so then you do think they should be intertwined. You're arguing that they should be intertwined. You're arguing that yes, this healthcare policy should be intertwined to incentivize employment. That is your argument right now.
When Medicaid eligibility was expanded,
There was never an expansion to redact a work requirement. I don't know why you keep on going back to that.
so I'll in a bit after we finish this thought, if you can put me on hold and I'll read up some stuff real quick. But my understanding of the whole expansion state concept is that they expanded eligibility and individual states either opted in or opted out.
Right,
This is
like
a
for
state
instance,
doing.
but this was like for instance, like imagine in California, the expanded eligibility was from people before this expanded eligibility existed. The most amount of money that you can make in a year to qualify was 16K. They just changed that to like 25 or some shit like that under the ACA. That is the expansion that we're talking about here. It's a very minimal expansion to allow people that are still in poverty but don't fall to the federal line of poverty to qualify for these benefits.
So let me ask you a different way then. If someone is purposely not working because they get benefits, why should they be entitled to Medicaid? Why?
So somebody's
Medicaid,
perfectly not working because they get benefits. Sure, they should still be entitled to Medicaid and other social safety nets because when we implement these social safety nets and we allow them to be at access to as many low-income Americans as possible, what we see as a whole is that more individuals are incentivized to get out there and work. Right? Like this is just purely an economic argument. It's a return on investment. We offer those social safety nets to as many people as possible. The average person with these social safety nets will convert their social safety nets into possession of more economic mobility, meaning that they're more incentivized to get out there and work because they're no longer focused on their immediate needs. Like, think about it, right? If you don't have health insurance, if you don't have SNAP, right? If you don't know how you're going to put food on the table at night, or you don't know how you're maybe going to like help pay for like your daughter's braces, even though I don't think that those are covered in the Medicaid. You get my point. You're more incentivized to just go out there, get a minimum wage job because it's the easiest thing that you can get immediately to cover your immediate needs, right? But when you have those social safety nets, you're no longer as focused on your immediate needs, and you're more so focused on like the long-term survivability of yourself and your income, meaning that you could go out there and get a better paying job, even if it takes a few more months to go through the interview process, or find an open job opportunity, or maybe even just spend more of your time on going to school, getting a trade degree, getting a degree from a university, so you don't have to work 60 hours
There's
a
a
week to
provision
put
for
food
going
on
to
your
school.
table. You know what I mean? And like basically, like just conceptually speaking, like the motivations why we should offer social safety nets to as many low-income Americans as possible is because on average they equate to more economic mobility for low-income Americans, which equates to less barriers to scaling one's income, which equates to more people with higher incomes. So we literally get a return of investment. But obviously we should talk about like the humanitarian aspect as well. I don't think just because you don't make a lot of money that if you break your arm, you should be in crippling debt until the day you die.
I agree.
Then you shouldn't agree with the provisions of the Big Beautiful Bill requiring people to work 80 hours a month, or
Until Democrats
else risk
find
they're
a
kicked
way.
off, or including their children are kicked off too.
Yeah, until Democrats find a way, and I say Democrats because that's been one of the campaign promises since going back to Obama and probably even before that. Until Democrats find a way to solidify universal health care for everyone, anytime
Wait,
Yeah,
these
blame
that
backdoor.
requires Republicans
Hold on.
also being in
I
support
know.
of
Hold on.
expanding that.
Yeah, blame
I'm
the
not done.
Dems.
Let
Blame
me
the
hold on.
Dems.
Let me no, because remember I voted for Obama back in the day. So hold on. Let me finish here. If Democrats continue to rely on backdoor methods to pass major legislation that is very fragile, that all it takes is a change in administration to destroy it, it's the wrong approach. It is a terrible approach. Democrats need to focus on not only getting the presidency, but also getting the
So I
Senate
just
and
want
the
to clarify,
House.
you're basically like, well, the Democrats haven't done enough to get universal health care, so we need to take more impoverished children off of the health care we do offer to incentivize them to do more to get universal health care. That's your argument, bud?
No, kids aren't.
Yes,
kids
kids,
of the age
15.
that you're referring to
15-year-old
aren't impacted.
kids. 15-year-old kids will be impacted. The work requirement goes into place for parents if they have a family, given that their children are non-14 or younger. That child turns 15, that parent has a work requirement.
Yeah, and maybe I'm forgetting a point here, but I think the kid will still be insured, just the parent wouldn't.
even if what you're saying is true, what does this still mean for the child? Because if the parent is thereby uninsured, has to go to the hospital, is hit with $100,000 bill, what do you think that's going to do to impact the quality of the life of the child? Okay, right? But I'm not even sure that what you're telling us is true. I'd love to see the source on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a lot more research in that area. And like I said, this is where I think the biggest area for discussion is with respect to the big beautiful bill. I think both the left and the right are misrepresenting exactly what's in there with respect to the Medicaid provision. To me, everything I've read so far is kids aren't going to be impacted. And when I read the term kid, I assume that to mean 18 and under or under 18.
Okay, well, do you just want to
Whether
come?
there's
Let's come back with the source, man. Appreciate you for coming.
yeah, and let's talk one more thing if we can. I mean, there's a lot to talk about Big Beautiful Bill, if that's all right.
I think I'll leave it at that. I think that I've had my fun with you, and I've had this joyous time conversing with you about Medicaid. I'm not. I think that was enough for me. But I do appreciate you for coming out.
Do you really mean that, Dean? You really did have fun? I take that as a
No, man. I mean, like for the most part, like you were saying, like, oh, you agree with me that like policy to incentivize employment should be decoupled from healthcare policy, but then you argued that they should be like included with one another, even though you just said the opposite, and then you never really gave an explanation. Like that was kind of like bad faith, and then you just kind of like moved on to the next thing of going back on saying that the incentive structure is out of whack, and we shouldn't have like low income Americans having this health care. And then I was like, no, we should. I give you an argument to demonstrate that it's economically a good decision because it generates a higher ROI by reducing barriers to generating higher income called economic mobility. That's what happens when we have social safety nets for low income Americans. Now, this reduces economic mobility by creating more barriers to generate a higher income. I even gave you like a specific example of that. You gave me no response. Like, what did you respond to that?
I told you that I was going to read more on kids 16 and older because that was the one area you stumped me. I don't know how they're impacted by this
You're
bill.
still not giving me an argument to just more social safety nets equating to more economic mobility. Like that's what I asked you for.
I don't believe one thing I shared with Parker yesterday, and this is kind of what I was getting at.
You're still not responding to my argument. This is why I want to move on.
No, Dean, yeah, I'm trying to tell you my own personal situation because I think it relates with a large part of the U.S.
But I want you to
especially with
respond to my
respect-
argument that having more social safety nets for low-income Americans, regardless of how much they work, gives low-income Americans more economic mobility, and we generally see this trend of more low-income Americans becoming middle-income Americans or high-income Americans because of more social safety nets for low-income Americans. I want you to respond to that argument
I
of
agree.
economic
Sure.
mobility.
I agree.
So then you would
If there
agree
was
that economically speaking, it still does make sense, not just for the quality of life of these low-income Americans, but also for the overall galvanization of the American consumer base to not have a work requirement on Medicaid because it's removing social safety nets from some low-income Americans.
No, you see, I think both
That's a
can be true at the
contradiction.
same time.
They-
It's
the-
not a
the-
contradiction.
The explicit contradiction is saying that social safety nets for low-income Americans are good, and also saying that social safety nets for low-income Americans are bad. That is the explicit contradiction.
It's not. What I'm trying to tell you is that you could, in theory, come up with a million different types of social safety nets, and all of them would be great.
All right, man. I gave you the explicit contradiction. We're gonna move on to the next guest. Everyone, just give us a minute. Be patient while we get our next guest, Abigail, up in here. And in Parker, I don't know. I don't think I will. I'm gonna be honest.
That's what I was thinking.
Let's go to get that next guest up here. What's up, Abigail? Do you support Trump?
Okay, I know you said only Trump supporters, but I do not support him. Please don't kick me. Hold on, I have a few questions.
I'm so sorry. We are just looking for. We really are just looking for Trump supporters. My apologies. Make sure that you're double tapping on that phone screen if you're watching the live, guys. Just looking for some Trump supporters. And Gracie, thank you for the meteor shower. I'd also like to thank really quickly Pamela for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much, Pamela. Pamela says in Ohio, mom to 4 kids make too much to qualify for food stamps, but barely make it paycheck to paycheck, working 68 hours a week. All of us are in Medicaid. Thank God. This bill is horseshit. Pamela, man, there's so many people out there like you. It is hurting so many people like you too. You're correct. The bill is absolute horseshit. But let's go to get that next guest up in here, guys. Make sure to let me know if you're MAGA down below in that chat. We're gonna try to get that next guest up in here, y'all. So everybody, just do be patient. We got Braden loading in. As well as Hannah, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat, and Chasten with the $10 as well. As well as I'd also like to thank Richard for the $20 over on Super Chat, saying that Medicare is not Medicaid. Yeah, he was like accidentally saying that it was. I'm pretty sure that was just an accident though, but I do appreciate you for the love. I'd also like to quickly thank Julia. Thank you for the $50 over on PayPal. Julia, it's been so long. Julia says, long time no see. I've been very busy, mentally exhausted. I hope that you're doing great. Julia, it's so good to see you. Guys, can we show some love to Julia down below in that chat? That is Juulia. Guys, show some love to Julia down below. Seriously, I want to see 500 Julia W's. Thank you so much for your kindness while we're working on getting this next Trump supporter loaded into the box. Everybody just do be patient. As well as I'd like to thank Chloe for the $5 over on PayPal, contributing to the anxiety pin fund. Let's go, Chloe. Carissa with a $5 saying thank you for always educating people. Thank you, Carissa. Then Ashton with a $5, Ella with a $4, and Trezor with a $5 as well. Thank you guys so much for the love over on PayPal. You guys are the best. Show some love to our donors down below in that chat. Then, of course, if you're watching and you'd like to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. And then just one more person before we move on. Susan with the $50 over on Venmo, and Evan with the $50 over on Venmo as well. Evan says, excellent channel. Your generation continues to impress me. Keep it up. I appreciate you for that love, Evan. Show some love to Evan down below. And then Susan says, many employers will hire multiple part-time employees just so they don't have to pay and offer health insurance. We see that all the fucking time, Susan. Thank you for the love, both of you guys. Show some love to Evan and Susan in those comment sections for the $50 donation from each of them, guys. Thank you so much. And welcome in, Moravsky. Do you support Trump?
Yep, I do.
Okay, how do you?
I'm a Turkish person who lives in Czech Republic, and I fully support Trump.
Turkish person that lives in Czech Republic. Sorry, man. We're just looking to talk to Americans. See you later. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go, guys. We're gonna get Joey and the AI up in the box. Parker, if you'd help me get a guest up here, that'd be great.
I got you, bro.
What's going on, Joey? You support Trump?
Yeah, what's up? Yes, absolutely, 120%.
You gross.
Why?
I say you're gross because you don't. And on the big beautiful bill,
Wait, you say I'm gross because I don't support the rapist? Come on, Joey.
Yeah, like how are we gross?
Because he's not a rapist, number one. But anyway,
litigated by a court.
Civilly liable of forcibly penetrating E. Jean Carroll's vagina against her will.
Litigated by a court, buddy.
Just like all the other false convictions. Anyway, so let's talk
about
what
false convictions are you referencing?
All the felonies that they convicted him for.
Okay, so you wouldn't accept a criminal court either.
I don't accept anything that they've done to Trump.
Anything towards Trump. So regardless of the evidence against Trump, you won't accept it. So you know what you just considered yourself? A cultist. You just considered yourself a cultist.
Why don't you
blah 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 blah. I'm a cultist, and I'm gonna come up on Dean's live, and I'm just gonna say dumb shit because I am gonna support Trump no matter the fuck what.
Because you're a dumbass.
Whoa.
Let's talk about something.
Joey, man, I'm gonna have you calm down, dude. Let's not use so strong explicit
So let's
words.
talk about the big beautiful bill.
Do you mind if I hop in here for a second, Joey? Can I talk?
Hey, it's your live.
Thank you, man. So I mean, Mr. Dr. Parker's prescriptions of labeling you a cultist, I think they're true. I real quick want to give you an opportunity to disprove them. Because you kind of just told us that you want to accept anything that anybody's ever said about Trump that's bad. What if he said it about himself?
No, that's not what I said.
Like, hypothetically, if Donald Trump admitted to, perving on naked...
That's not what I said.
Would you believe him?
That's not what I said.
What did you say? What did you say?
So personally, now if you want to know what I think about Trump personally, he's a scumbag piece of shit. But as a president, he's the best president that's ever fucking existed. What? And what they did, they took his personal life and brought it into the presidential politician, the political spotlight.
One.
And no,
Joey, you just called him the best president that has ever lived. As the best president that has ever lived, the best president that has ever lived, he must have some damn good accomplishments under his belt. What is single-handedly, one moment, what is single-handedly the best policy that Donald Trump has ever passed that, in your mind, solidifies him as the best president that has ever served this country?
To start with, the big beautiful bill.
The big beautiful bill solidifies him as the best president ever?
I've been trying to talk about it since I came up, but
why?
You guys have been spreading numerous amounts of false information about that bill. Number one, something that you don't know. Medicaid has not had a work requirement, but it had an income cap. You could not get Medicaid if you worked over, I think it's 12 hours a week, if you made more than $200 a week in most states. And in some states, if you worked at all, you could not get Medicaid. So there's a lot of people below the poverty line that were out there working, trying to make money, and couldn't get Medicaid, couldn't get those services
And
at all.
take a guess who put those requirements in place.
I actually don't think that
Your
anything you said,
Democratic Party?
everything, oh my God, everything. I can't even speak today. Every single thing that Joey just said outside of Medicaid having an income cap is fucking false.
No, every word I said is absolutely true. Now,
Okay, then show
I'm-
me.
Yeah.
and I'll give you a
Show
great
me
example.
previous work
So,
requirements that have existed for federal Medicaid.
I didn't say there were work requirements. You're putting words in my mouth.
Yeah,
I
you
said
did.
there
You
were
said
not.
that it cuts you off if you work over 12 hours a week. That's a work requirement.
No, that's not a work requirement. A work requirement is requiring you to work so many hours a week.
What that is a
You're
work.
not even intelligent enough
It
to know the
requires you
definition
to
of the
work
word
12
requirement.
Wait,
hours or
if-
less a week to qualify. Yeah.
That's
No,
still a work
no,
requirement.
it doesn't require you to work anything. It says that.
That's what
if
you just said.
Okay, so then you
just
lied.
said-
So then you did lie. Thank you
Yeah,
for
No,
conceding.
literally.
no, you are literally twisting words. But the word requirement means that you're required to do it.
Yes,
You are required to.
you're
There
required
was no
to have
requirement.
less.
No, that is not a requirement. Oh my God, come on, man. That's bullshit. You are
Yeah, like in order for you to come on.
disingenuous as hell.
All right,
You are disingenuous as
Parker, let's let him yap.
You are-
Take it away.
a requirement is something you're required to do, not something that. Give me 1 second.
In order for you to apply for this social program, I require you to make less than this amount. He thinks that that's not possible.
You're required to work less
He
than
thinks
12
that's not a
hours a week to
requirement.
qualify.
That's not a
work
requirement. That's not a requirement.
No, you're not required to work a single hour before to get Medicaid. It's not a requirement that you work this many hours or less. It's a it is what's the word I'm looking for?
Wait, that's what you just said it was.
Um,
You said you have to
it's the
work.
opposite
You
of
have
a
to work
requirement.
lower than 12 hours.
It's-
Is that what you said?
That's not a fucking requirement.
Let's
That is.
let's
It's
just
for- you're required to work less.
Do you not know the
We're
definition
gonna
of a
roll back.
requirement?
We're gonna roll back.
Requirement is
Just so
a-
they don't
is
have to pay
something
off
that
for
you
health
have.
insurance. We see that all the fucking times. We're gonna roll back. Thank you for the love, both of you guys. Show some love to
That's called absolutely 120%.
exclusion,
not
Get
a
it by
Is
court.
held civilly liable.
buddy. Can we listen to this clip without you interrupting me?
For so okay. So regardless of the evidence,
I'm gonna
I
have
know
you
what I said.
that anybody's ever said about Trump that's bad. What if he said it about himself?
No,
like,
that's not what I said.
like hypothetically, not even there yet.
If you want to know what I think about Trump personally, he's presidential.
That's the best president that has ever lived. He must ask that in your
The big beautiful bill.
the big beautiful bill solidifies him as
Yes.
the best president ever.
I've been
Why?
trying to talk about it since I came up, but you won't let me.
Why?
You guys have been spreading numerous amounts of false information about that bill. Number one, something that you don't know. Medicaid has not had a work requirement, but it had an income cap. You could not get Medicaid if you worked over, I think it's 12 hours a week. If you made more than $200 a week,
You just said you cannot get Medicaid if you worked over 12 hours a week. They got taken off for harassment and bullying.
that's absolutely diabolical. He was essentially arguing that it's not a requirement for some social programs, again, to have less income than a certain amount. That is the most diabolical take I think I've ever seen.
I mean, honestly, like it was probably just a semantic dispute, but like, I obviously like we were in the right and he was in the wrong, right? When it as it applied to said semantic dispute. Nice screenshot, Jay. Wow.
Wow, screenshot and diff didn't even say
I
hi.
feel like we just got robbed, bro.
Dude.
That was crazy. That was crazy. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I'm
I'll-
23.
Oh no! Why do you support the worst president of your life?
I'm pro-choice. I mean, sorry, I'm pro-life.
Okay, we already had like an hour pro-life discussion. I'm gonna bar abortion from the live right now. We want more substance. Anything else you support him on?
Well, could I just make a point on it?
No,
Or no?
unfortunately not, man.
All right. That's all I had to.
Okay, I have a question. If you're pro-life, would you say that you'd agree with legislation if you knew said legislation would save the lives of more children?
Yes.
So you would agree with like banning ARs? You would agree with like banning handguns because it is the case that gun deaths are the driving cause of death in children?
We'll just switch to a different form then. How do you mean?
What?
Like, if we ban guns, then they're gonna get stabbed.
We just literally see less gun deaths. per
Guns
100,000
aren't
residents in
bad.
red
People
states.
are bad. Is that argument?
Okay, so then we shouldn't ban abortions. It's not the abortions that are bad, it's the women who get the abortions that are bad.
No, like, no, it's not like that. But weapons aren't evil. People are evil.
Abortions aren't evil. The person that's getting them is evil.
Okay,
And because
so
abortions aren't evil, you can't ban them.
So you shouldn't ban nuclear weapons because it's not the nuclear weapons that are killing anyone, it's the people.
Yeah, why not? You have to use the nukes. It's not like the nukes.
I'm
just-
pro-life, but I think private citizens should be able to buy and own a nuclear weapon.
I think Elon
Okay,
Musk
clearly-
deserves to be able to buy a nuclear weapon.
So I just
If
want
he
to
can't
clarify.
buy a
not.
nuclear weapon, I don't know what freedom is. I
Like-
tell you.
So you definitely disagree with like Donald Trump striking Iran, then, right? Because he was trying to take their nukes unjustly. What a psychopath, right?
Well, I was in the military, but we were kind of clapping them with Biden. But like my main point though was like it's illegal, or sorry, it's considered a double murder to kill a pregnant mom. Why is it okay to just kill the baby then?
You know what, based. If I answer your question, well, you can see. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna answer your question. Think about it this way: do you own a car?
Yes.
Would it be a crime if you were to pop your car's tires?
No.
Would it be a crime if I unconsensually popped your car's tires without your knowledge?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So what we're learning now is that if a woman consensually kills a fetus that's living in her uterus, it is not murder because it's justified. But if a third party unconsensually kills the fetus in her uterus, it is murder because it's unjustified because it was done without the consent of the woman.
So you're putting an unborn baby's life at the same value as a tire?
That's not the comparison, silly goose. The comparison
just
was
did,
how
chicken
consent
nugget.
works in relation to like classifying something as just or unjust predicated on the existence or lack of existence of consent.
I don't know. I put a baby above a tire.
Dude, zero brain cells.
You
What if-
banned the wrong guy. Oh my
I
day.
didn't even kick
You
him.
can't say zero brain cells and kick little bro out.
I didn't kick him. I think that I don't even know what just happened to him.
No, that's crazy.
Also, did you call me a chicken nugget?
Yeah?
Bro, get the fuck out of here with that cringe shit. Oh my god.
No, that's not cringe. Wait, what flavor's your vape?
I don't vape.
Okay, what flavor's your air?
Lavender and caramel.
Oh, I like green apple ice.
That's pretty fucking fire. Okay, I'll
It
give you that
is.
one. We're gonna move on to the next guest. What happened to Parker? What happened to Parker? Where did he go? Let me invite him. Okay, I sent him an invitation. I have no clue what happened to Parker, everybody. By the way, if you're watching and you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds over on those platforms, as well as I'll shout you out and read off any and all attached messages. Okay, it looks like Nick. Hey, Nick, what's up? Do you support Trump?
I used to.
Great, Nick. I'm really happy that you don't anymore. Good for you, man. That is awesome. Moving on. Here we go, everybody. We're going to get our next guest, Michaela, loaded up into the live, y'all. We're going to get our next guest, Michaela, loaded up into the live. Guys, just looking for a singular Trump supporter to have a conversation with. As well as John with the 30 cents over on PayPal. Thank you. Then Sonny with the $2. Appreciate you. Let's going to move on to the next guest now, everybody. Let us know if you're maggot down below in that chat. I'll happily invite you up so we could have a convo. Everybody just be patient here. Yo, Juan, thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo, Juan. That is incredibly kind of you. Juan says, thank you for what you do. You radiate hope in a time of uncertainty. P.S. Idiocracy 2006 was supposed to be a ridiculously ludicrous comedy, not a documentary. It's surreal and anxiety-inducing seeing it unravel in real time. Dude, I'm telling you, Idiocracy was prophecy, man, okay? That movie, spot on. Spot on. Thank you for the $50, though, Juan. If you guys could please show some love to Juan down below in that comment section, that would be awesome. Thank you so much for the love. What is going on, little Jimmy? You support Trump? All right, fantastic, man. Fantastic, man. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it, bro. Moving on to the next guest. Let's go and see what that next guest has to say, everybody. Just give us a minute while we get Haley loaded up into the live. We got Haley loaded in right now, y'all. Make sure that we're double tapping on that phone screen. Oh, Parker's internet cut out. Tell Parker to come back. Did he crash over on YouTube too? I think he might have. Okay, Haley's not here. We're going to start pulling people up from the chat compared to the comment. We're going to start pulling people up from the chat compared to the queue. Whoa, you're back. Hey, Parker. Okay, Parker's still not here. There's something funky going on. All right, moving on to Damien. Here we go, everybody. Give us a minute to get our next guest, Damien, loaded into the live. Oh, hello, Damien. Do you support Trump?
No, I actually did start a live doing the same thing.
Very nice, Damien. Very nice. Moving on. Here we go, everybody. We got My Gal Friday loading up in, and Ashley. Thanks for the $2 over on PayPal, as well as Ducky with the $5 on YouTube Super Chat saying, tell Parker to come back. I think he's trying. Welcome in, My Gal Friday. Do you support Trump?
You have the wrong argument on abortion. And I'll tell you why. Because the first thing that you, as a mother of 4, the first thing you need to tell these men, and we are all infuriated in the chat, okay? First of all, America has the highest mother mortality rate in, one of them, the highest in amongst the developed world, right? Don't we have that? Highest
I haven't seen
rate?
the stats, but I wouldn't doubt it. I'll just take your word for it.
Okay, so preeclampsia, hypertension, fluid retention. You can develop diabetes while you're pregnant and then have it for the rest of your life. You can literally break your pelvis, rip from hole to hole, have stitches in there for for 30 days after that don't close, up to 60. All right, you propose that to any of these men who come up here, and what really irked me about that guy, he said that we don't know what we're doing when we do it. Let me tell you something. If you proposed any of those medical conditions could be that he could have had them, or any man could have them. I'm still fuming about this guy. I'm sorry, team. I'm sorry. Ugh. You propose that to them, there would be abortion clinics at the drive-thrus in McDonald's. Okay,
I agree. We know more about male pattern baldness than we do the female anatomy because
ladies, we weren't included in medical testing until 1992. We were not included in medical testing until 1992. They didn't test how Tylenol affected us. They didn't test how any of these drugs affected us. They didn't test any of that. So let me tell you something. That is within my lifetime. I am 42 years old. I have 4 children. I chose to keep my children, but I am glad that if I would have needed to make that decision, I could have. And the fact that they want to take it away, it's not their right to tell other women what they can do with their bodies. That's the end of the argument. You give them the list of things that can happen to a woman when she's pregnant, they will change their tune. They're not going to have any argument against that. Preempty them. Tell them, hey, if I told you that you had a condition that could cause X, Y, and Z, would you say sure? Hell no, they wouldn't. Hell no, they wouldn't. They can't stand it if they get nipped in the you-know-whats. So I don't want to hear from any of you men, any of you MAGA out there who want to sit there and talk about abortion as if you know what goes on with a woman's body when most of you can't even give the number of holes that we have below our belly button. I don't want to hear it. Dean, I love you. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me up. That's all I wanted to say.
I appreciate you for coming
before.
up. And you made some really good points. You're right. Before 1992, doctors just assumed that the anatomy, physiology, neurobiology of women was the same as men, so they only tested on men. And now that's led to us, like I said, knowing more about male pattern baldness and pregnancy. I've even seen it firsthand. I went to the doctors a while back for heart palpitations.
Yeah,
and
I know.
I got really great treatment and service from the doctors for that. But the one thing my girlfriend has repeated to me every so often since is that she's telling me if she were to have gotten with these same issues, that the doctor would have said, pee in a cup, you might be pregnant. I don't know. There is a lot of medical sexism. You were absolutely spot on. And then about your position, it's just kind of the conversation stops at saying that women have a right to do whatever they want with their bodies. My approach to talking to the Trump supporters is to dissect their view and point out reasons why they are wrong internally. I feel like that is more pragmatically effective in changing the minds of these lost Trump supporters, because the bodily autonomy argument is something that has been said rightfully for so long, but it's just simply overlooked by so many of these Trump supporters.
You also have to realize that most men and males in general don't like to go to a doctor for anything. Trust me, I can't get my husband to go for nothing. You ask any wife, she'll tell you the same story. So that's one thing that you as a young, you're young, you're as old as one of my kids. That's one thing that you need to realize. A lot of men don't like to go to doctors, especially men who are older than you of my generation. They don't like it. That's a number one thing that us wives and us women who deal with these men go through on a daily basis. I can't tell you how many friends I have who were telling their husbands to go get their hearts checked, and they don't want to do it. So
The only reason I did it is because the chat was telling me to. Shit.
there you go.
Right. Yeah, it's probably the women in my chat telling me to.
There you go. So I wanted to bring that up. And the word that you and Parker were looking for in it was eligibility requirement for Medicare.
Eligibility requirement for Medicare.
That is a
Thank you so much.
requirement. It just means that that's what you have to do in order to remain eligible.
Well, hey, I really appreciate you for coming up, very knowledgeable, and I appreciate you for being passionate about these things. I think that more people need to be passionate about these things, and I hope they have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
She's awesome. She's awesome. I was looking at her followers. She only has like 3,000 followers. I was like totally expecting to click on her account and just see that she's some like massive, like somebody with a massive platform because of how, you know, like how good she was at like proposing her decisions. She was awesome. Really cool. Really cool. Parker's live content is flagged for harassment and bullying. What? He wasn't even here. Parker wasn't even here. I think that his internet is still out and it just loaded his account in for what? What the fuck, dude? Oh man, dude, I'm gonna have to tell him about that. We're gonna move on to the next guest. Go to let me know if you are a MAGA down below in that comment section by dropping a MAGA with your age. I know that I let her up and I would do it again because she's awesome, but I'm not gonna make any more exceptions for any other non-Trump supporters. So make sure if you are in that queue that you are a Trump supporter. As well as Angie, thank you so much for the $15 over on YouTube Super Chat saying that lady was 100% right. These young boys 18 through 21 have no clue. Yeah, you know what? Personal, I could agree. As well as Scarlett, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat as well. Guys, show some love to Annie and Scarlett down below in that chat. I apologize for the person just coming up here shouting the N-word. If I had to guess, they're probably like 4. So let's go and see what that next guest, definitely real human, has to say. Everyone just give us a minute to get that next guest up in the box, y'all. Everyone just do be patient. Welcome in. Do you support Trump?
Absolutely.
How old are you?
I am 28. I'll be 29 on August 13th.
And why do you have so much confidence in your support for Trump? Like, honestly, I feel like right now, Trump supporters should be like not confident at all. Like, I feel like your approach should be like, oh yeah, Dean, I support Trump. You know, just because he's like so indefensible and has done so many bad things. But like the absolutely is insane.
So there's a really important question I have for you.
Okay. After you ask your question, I want to ask you a couple questions. I'm going to do some investigation of your views.
No, that's very fair. Do you prefer Frederick Chopin or Franz Liszt?
Chopin. But I guess
Okay,
I guess it depends on the day because Liszt has some good compositions as well, like Un Suspiro. That's by Liszt. That's my favorite composition.
That's so good. I tried learning it, but I had a really hard time. Like I'm learning La Campanella currently, and it's like it's a very difficult piece, and I've spent like 2 years.
You could get the right hand of La Campanella down. It's the left hand that's weird.
Oh, really? Is that the hard part?
Yeah. No.
All right.
Anyways,
Well, I mean,
why do you absolutely support Trump?
I mean, no. I just wanted to ask you that question because I love both of them. I love you, Dean. Take care.
Yeah, you as well, man. We're gonna move on to our next guest here, y'all. Everybody, just do be patient. He was not actually MAGA. Let's go to see what that next guest has to say. Everybody. Yeah, I'd say overall, like Chopin, is like work is a little bit like better on average than Liszt, but like Liszt's hits are just crazy. Like Un Suspiro, man, just great piece. What's going on, Rob? Do you support Trump?
No, I didn't mean to do this. I'm sorry. Love you though, Dean.
No worries, man. Don't worry about it. We're gonna move on to the next guest. All right, we're gonna get that next guest up in the box right now, guys. Go to drop a mag with your age down below in that chat, y'all. Okay, we're gonna get Vicky loaded into the live. I hope that Vicky's a Trump supporter. I mean, like, I guess I don't hope that she's a Trump supporter, but like in the context of wanting to debate, I do. But like, the less Trump supporters, the better, right? As well as Melanie, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo, saying buy a nice flat iron steak for you and your girlfriend. Educated people like you bring me so much joy and hope. You've helped remind me of that the glass is half full. Best of luck, man. I appreciate you for that gesture, as well as the $10, Melanie. You know, I will tell you, it's been a rough couple days, not just for me, but also for my girlfriend because she's in proximity of me, and when I'm not doing all right, she isn't doing all right either. You know, it's been war. You know, so I appreciate that gesture. I think I do need to do like a nice date night with her here soon. Welcome in, Aaron. Oh, it looks like Aaron's immediately leaving. Honestly, if you're MAGA and you want to come up and debate, just let me know down below in that chat. We're not really finding anybody to come up on the live. Oh my God, yo, Sid! Sid, thank you so much for the $100 super chat over on that YouTube stream. They said, hypothetically, if I have a wild MAGA cousin who wanted to debate you one day, would you be down? Yes, Sid. Fucking duh. No, please line me up. I'd love to debate your cousin. LFG, dude. Thank you for the $100. So let's get 1,000 Sid W's down below in that chat. Welcome in, Lil Drop Top. Do you support Trump? I don't know what he said, so I'm going to kick him and move on. Guys, MAGA in the chat, if you want to come up, why can't we find any debates? This is outrageous. This is so crazy. This is so crazy. Quite frankly. Hello, your best nightmare. Do you support Trump?
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious. How old are you?
30.
Oh, goodness gracious. Why do you support Trump?
I don't think that he is actually influential. I think that the people that support him do. I think that he is a straw man and is taking the brunt of everything. As a person, I felt really sad for him, seeing kind of how all of his decisions are imploding upon him. And I think that the real people who are actually doing things are like Lockheed Martin and Bose and pharmaceuticals. And I think he's a really good distraction from like the people who are actually trying to destroy the American.
Oh, fuck. Yo. I'm so sorry. My main Venmo account just got unfroze. That's so cool. No, man. It's been frozen for like a week. That's
I'm
so
glad
cool.
that it got unfroze.
I know, right? That's awesome. Anyways, you were just saying some super crazy shit. You were basically telling me that
Well, I
you
don't think
support
it's
him because
crazy.
you
I
don't think
think
he's
it's
making.
just
You don't
a
think.
viewpoint.
So you support him because you don't think he's the one making the bad decisions.
Yeah, I think that what he does is he basically, just like how he got The Apprentice, they were looking for somebody who looks like a entrepreneur, even though he had failed businesses. And so he was basically the figurehead for that. And there's a whole interview where the guy who made him into that position regrets pulling him because he said, I created a monster.
So,
and then I think in the same way that he is now the president, quote unquote, I don't actually think that he's the one doing anything. Like, as a person, I feel sorry for him. Like, think about it. So
I'm just trying to find a way. I'm just trying to find a way to combat this. But no, Oscar, thank you for the $11.11 over Venmo. You are the first Venmo. Thank you for love. No, let me talk real quick.
Okay.
So when Donald Trump said that he wanted to ban all Muslims from coming into America, he said, I, Donald Trump, want to ban all Muslims from coming into America. And every bad decision that he has made has been like supported and endorsed by himself as one of his accomplishments. Like when Roe v. Wade got overturned, for instance, he's been boasting that as one of his accomplishments for the last 3 years. Or like even with the BBB, it's Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill that he boasts. Or even think about it, maybe relating to the mass deportation. It is Trump's deportation. It is Trump's alligator Alcatraz. The Trump administration deported Abrego Garcia. And every word that has come out of your mouth is an absolute incoherent conspiracy theory.
What I'm saying is this. If you look at politics, you have the media, which he's really good with media training. You have the media wanting to tell you something, whether they're Fox or CNN. And so for him, he's treating his name like a product. So if he says he endorses something, the people who paid him to say those things are going to be very happy.
So even though he says I'm sorry, you're just a late stage cult member because you're basically saying that nothing bad he's ever done is ultimately his fault, even if he says it is. You're insane.
No, I'm not saying that.
Tell me how that's not the reduction of your view.
No, I said I feel sorry for him.
Why do you feel, okay, what specifically, I want you to be very clear. What do you feel sorry for Trump for?
Okay, sorry if I wasn't super clear. What I mean by that is, as a person, I support him, and I've been able to see how he has become a puppet to the money.
What about his person do you support?
I support his person as like a living, breathing person who deserves empathy. I don't think that going onto these, political.
Also, I'm just gonna move on to the next guest, y'all. Let's go to see what the next guest has to say, y'all. Everybody, just do be patient while we get the next guest loaded into the live. Maybe I'm just like too tired today to be doing this shit. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm tired because I've been like fighting in a war for the last 3 days. I'm very tired. Maybe I'm just not woke enough to be dealing with this shit. We're gonna move on to the next guest. Everyone, just give us a minute. Yo, Hoppy, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. Appreciate you for that. Love Hoppy. Show some love to Hoppy down below for that 20. I do really appreciate that. And then also, yeah, no, the main Venmo account is reopened. That is awesome. That is awesome. That is awesome. Oscar, once
I'm
again, thank you for
masturbating right now.
What the fuck, dude? Get the hell out
I haven't
of here.
came in 7.
Kendra, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. I appreciate you for the love, Kendra. Show some love to Kendra down below in that comment section. Thank you so much. What does Kendra say? Kendra says, another talking point is missed about abortion is that the same procedure that is used in abortions is used to clear retained products of conception in the case of miscarriages. Abortion laws are too vague about it. Abortion laws suck, let me tell you. But I appreciate you for the $20. Welcome in, Cameron. Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Have we talked before?
No.
We've never talked before?
No. Shit.
I think we have. I don't know. I'll make that determination based upon your argument for why you support Trump. Why do you support the worst president of all time?
Just based off his views on like transgender people.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the 16 trans women that will lose the ability to compete in the NCAA is more important to you than the 17 million American citizens that will lose the ability of access to Medicaid. The 16 trans women that will lose the and he left. Oh, actually no, I just lost access to my multi-guest live feature. Yeah. What the fuck? So I take a win by regaining access to my Venmo. Then I take a big L immediately. Dude. Oh my goodness gracious. I've been having it rough. Audrey, thank you so much for the $12 over on Venmo. Audrey, I really appreciate you so much for the love. Can we show some love to Audrey down below in that chat? I would really appreciate it if we could. Thank you so much for the $12 over on Venmo. Audrey says, grand reopening? Yeah, this is a grand reopening of the Venmo, right? As well as Jasmine with the $10 saying Trump has no empathy and deserves no empathy. Yeah, I don't think he really deserves much empathy. I'll be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Appreciate you for the $10. I appreciate that, Jasmine. I appreciate that. You guys are way too kind. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, everybody. You know what? So I submitted the appeal. Hopefully we'll be able to get our multi-guest feature back here very, very soon. Something I'll ask all of you to do while we're waiting on that is to please go to my Twitter account and to like and repost the video I posted. It is 5 minutes long, and it's a clip of this husband and his wife just going like crazy and saying that like they think that parents have the right to consent to their child being exploited. The reason I'd really appreciate it if you guys would all go like that video and repost it is because that couple has been paraded by the right as being innocent and saying that I'm like crazy for deeming them as a threat alongside a couple other things. False allegations all day long too. Saying that like I doxed the dad, this innocent dad, that I doxed him too. That's also false. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would go drop a like and repost that because the propaganda has been insane. So I spent like 3 hours editing that down just so like everybody knows exactly who these people are. As well as, yo, let's see here. Yo, Heidi! Thank you so much for the $30 over on Venmo, Heidi. I really appreciate you for that love. Heidi says, being abroad or saying you're Canadian, etc., doesn't always mean you're not American. Some people are dual citizens and can vote, not saying that you have, but some people weaponize voter records, not realizing some states let you block partition for privacy. Yeah, Heidi, we only kick people off of this live that aren't American. And there's a lot of people that try to join that aren't American. But of course, if you're a dual citizen, you could still come up here and debate. Like, who's that one guy? I forget his name. But he said he was a dual citizen. I let him stay up here for a pretty long debate, even though I found him absolutely insufferable. Anyways, let's check on that ban. Let's see what it is. We'll probably have heard back on the appeal, and we have, and the appeal was approved. Ah! Well, look at that! Look at that, everybody! We got our account back. Yo, let's go! Holy crap! LFG, you guys, that's exciting. Okay, we're taking big dubs. That's what I like to see. Hell yeah. Very nice. Okay. All right. Give me a second here, because I'm just going to... Oh, Parker's FaceTiming me. Hello, Parker. I'm on live. Everybody can hear you.
I know you are. Did you lose guest access?
Yeah, but I got it back.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah, what happened to you, bro?
It's randomly cut out, bro.
Again?
Yes, like again. That happened literally like a day ago, like 2 days ago. And it happened again, bro.
Yeah, man, that's fucked. I mean, are you sure it's an internet thing?
Yeah, my internet is randomly cut out.
You should call your providers, see if there's any cutouts in your area.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really weird.
Yeah, no, man, I don't doubt that. But hey, I'm gonna go to restart my live. Feel free to join.
All right, for sure, bro. I might join for a little bit. I think I'm done with like the YouTube and everything today.
No, makes sense, man. Love to have you on the live though. See you soon.
All right, I'll see you, bro.
All right, then for everybody watching, we do have to restart the live real quick to regain the guest access. It's kind of fucked. I don't know why they make us do that. Like, dude, it's shitty. But now that I've lost it on this stream, I have to restart it to get it back at all. So that's what we're gonna do right now. I will ask y'all to come right back into the stream, preferably. If you want a really easy way to come right back into the stream, just drop a follow. It'll pop up on your page. I'll BRB. Yeah, see, guys, I'm seeing some of that same misinformation, which is why I wanted y'all to go like that post on Twitter. Somebody in the chat just said, Dean, you think children can consent to sex? I don't think that. That's what the guest was saying, that I was condemning. That the guest was saying that the parent could consent for children to be exploited. And that's what I was condemning. That's what I was refuting. I don't know why people are taking this. Like, how can you even... Like, what world do you live in? Like, real quick before we restart, let's just listen to the first minute of this together. They're saying that their takeaway from this clip is apparently that I'm a pedo. Let's listen to the first minute. The first thing that was said was, here's Donald Trump walking into the changing rooms of these naked teens. And what was your first response to that?
Did the parents give consent? Did they allow it?
Goatman, precisely. I don't think that a parent can allow for their underage teen to be perved on.
You don't think, or that's the law? That's
his wife, by the way.
Difference. There's a huge difference. What's the law?
Wait, are you... So no, that's actually not the law. It is...
What is the law, Dean? What is the age of consent? What is the law?
We're talking about teenagers, under 18 here.
Right, and they don't have the legal authority to make that consent. So whose responsibility is it then? Who is it? Is it God? It's not God. Who is it?
So the child can't consent to sex, and the parent can't consent to the child having sex.
So where does the consent fall? Because
nobody.
When you go to the doctor's office, when kids go on field trips, who's signing the papers? Because it's not the child. From my research, statements from the girl specifically that he went...
Do y'all hear that shit? I kid you not. I kid you not. There is thousands of Republicans. There's thousands of Republicans that listen to that and their takeaways that I'm a pedo. I'm not even joking. I'm not joking. I'm not trolling. For the last 3 days, I've woken up to hundreds of death threats, hundreds of messages saying, you're a pedo. It's insane. It's fucking wild. Completely unreal. Completely unreal. So how about this? While we're restarting the stream, if you have X, you should go like that post and repost it. As many people as possible need to see that because it's unreal. I'll BRB though. While I'm restarting, I am going to also use a restroom. So BRB on TikTok. Then for everybody on YouTube, I'll be right back. Just going to go use the body. All right, I am back, everybody. Hello, hello. Libby, thank you so much for the $50 over on Super Chat. Libby says, sorry you've had to deal with all that. Well, hey, I really appreciate you for your $50 donation. That is incredibly kind of you. Show some love to Libby down below. I do really appreciate you so much for the love. Show some love to Libby. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you so much for your kindness. Guys, show some love to Libby down below for the $50 donation. And we are back on TikTok. But it is still restricting my... Oh, got it back. There it is. Welcome back into the TikTok live stream for everybody tuning back in. It is so good to have you all back in the stream. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my God. Oh my goodness gracious, everybody. So a little bit of an update talking about what we were just talking about before we ended the live with those crazy parents. So there's people on the left. If you guys know about the Unfuck America tour, the people that are still running it, like Mercedes or Anne, these liberals are reposting videos saying that I doxed a normal father. A, didn't dox him. B, do normal fathers say that parents can consent to their children being exploited? Bro, keep your liberal influencers in check. Because that's insane. If you're a fan of those motherfuckers, people like Mercedes, people like Anne that are out here reposting these straight up lies, saying that I doxed, which isn't true. Some normal father who we all just heard said that it's a parent, the parent has to can give permission for children to be exploited. Keep them in check because that is unreal. I've seen a lot of liberals reposting these videos. It's insane. It's absolutely crazy. But we're going to go ahead and hop back into the debate. So for everybody tuning in, y'all, make sure that you are double tapping away on that phone screen and sharing out this live with a handful of friends. We're going to get that very first Trump supporter up in the box to debate. Yeah, no, seriously, keep your liberals in check because that is nutty, nutty, nutty. Let's go and get that. Oh, there's even somebody in the queue that made one of these videos. There's somebody in the queue that that made one of these videos. So they're saying, on their caption on the video that they have posted, says Dean Withers, popular left-wing creator, tells his chat to falsely report a father for heinous crimes against his own son simply because he lost a debate. Okay. Shouldn't have directed the chat to call CPS. I shouldn't have done that. Have I heard from a billion mandatory reporters that they mandatorily had to report that though? Yeah, I have. I shouldn't have directed the chat to say that. But let me get this guy up here real quick. Let me get this motherfucker up here for 30 seconds. We're going to get him on because this shit is crazy. So we just read your caption together talking about how I was trashing on this dude.
Can you hear me?
Because I can't hear you.
I have a black screen.
Don't worry, I can hear you. So you said that I was trashing on this dude just simply because I lost a debate. Do we need to re-roll the minute and 10-second clip where this guy says that parents have permission to exploit their children, and then his wife says that Donald Trump looking at the naked bodies of these children was a business transaction? Or what about the end of the clip where they're like, oh, C-SPAM or CP is art? What about that one? Are those normal parents?
Yeah, I'm not here to litigate some idiot's conversation you had. I'm just totally against doxing. 100%. I think doxing is criminal.
You said in the bio. We'll talk about that next. But in the description of the video, you said simply because he lost a debate. So that implies that these people aren't crazy. Can we agree that these people should be on a list?
Yeah, Dean. I think it's kind of insane.
I want a yes or no. Do you think it's kind of insane that they said that it is okay to sexually exploit children with a parent's permission, and they resaid it 5 times, and the wife said it was a business transaction? What are your thoughts? No, let's listen to it together. Talking at the start of the conversation.
Yeah, you should post a clip of that.
The very first thing that was said was, here's Donald Trump walking into the changing rooms of these naked teens.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop
and
down.
What was your first response to that? You're gonna drop down? No, bro, don't drop. Don't drop. Listen.
I can't see you. It's a black screen.
You don't need to see me in order to hear this. So how about we listen together?
Let me pull
Did the parents give consent? Did they allow it?
So yesterday, the other day when we were talking at the start of the conversation, the very first thing that was said was, here's Donald Trump walking into the changing rooms of these naked teens. And what was your first response to that?
Did the parents give consent? Did they allow it?
Goatman, precisely. I don't think that a parent can allow for their underage teen to be perved on?
You don't think, or that's the law?
That's his wife, by the way, that said, you don't think, or is that the law, in response to me saying, once again, Goatman, precisely. I don't think that a parent can allow for their underage teen to be perved on.
You don't think, or that's the law? There's a difference. There's a huge difference. What's the law?
Wait, are you... So no, that's actually not the law. It is...
What is the law, Dean? What is the age of consent? What is the law?
We're talking about teenagers, under 18 here.
Right, and they don't have the legal authority to make that consent. So whose responsibility is it then? Who is it? Is it God? It's not God. Who is it?
So the child can't consent to sex, and the parent can't
So you
consent to the child
retroactively
having
knew
sex.
this woman?
So who?
So give me your thoughts on what they said there.
Yeah, my thoughts are, how'd you know she said that before you doxed her? You said that, she said that after you doxed her.
I didn't dox anybody, and I'll have that debate with you. I'll prove to you that I didn't dox anybody after you give me your thoughts on what this husband and wife had to say about how parents retain the legal right to literally exploit their children. Think that a parent can allow for their underage teen to be perved on.
You don't think, or that's the law?
Give me your thoughts on that very innocent, normal husband and wife. Take it away.
Yeah, what's up? You want me to like pick up their argument from where they left off?
No,
Like, what do you mean?
just give me your thoughts on what they had to say there.
Yeah, I think they're idiots and they shouldn't have never came on your platform because you're a freak and you tried to separate their family. And the fact that she tried to debate you on Trump.
You're still already just talking about me. I'm asking you to talk about this couple and what your thoughts are and what they said.
Yeah, I think they're probably very poor speakers and they don't actually mean that you could be trafficking children and they just probably don't belong in a public setting because they're probably like low IQ or something.
Okay, so how about we listen to the rest of the 4 minutes of this clip where they only repeat it. Let's see what they have to let's see what they have to say here.
Age of consent. Whose responsibility is it then? Who is it? Is it God? It's not God. Who is it?
So the child can't consent to sex and the parent can't consent to the child having sex.
So where does the consent fall? Because
nobody. The
When you
consent
go
doesn't
to the
fall on
doctor's
anybody.
office, when kids go on field trips, who's signing the papers? Because it's not the child. From my research.
Oh, she just was a bad speaker. It didn't mean to say that, yeah, parents have that right. Or you know what even about the beginning of the clip, first thing that was said was, here's Donald Trump walking into the
Wait, so what's your
changing
argument
rooms
here?
of these
That
naked
you think she
teens.
can...
And what was your first response to that?
Did the parents give consent?
Oh, and so then when the husband quadruples down on his statement that parents can give consent to the exploitation, just bad speaker. He didn't mean it. No, there's no way he meant it. Or what about
I think it's way less more.
Or what about like the second? What about like the second part of this video where the mom just straight up calls an old man looking at the naked body of a teenager a business transaction?
To get some sort of like feedback and transactional advice from the guy because he's a businessman. This is exactly what these women that were back there have said on BuzzFeed. I've seen it. I read it.
What do you mean it was transactional when he's walking
They were
on a
trying
naked
to
teenage
get.
girls?
It was
What's
transactional in a
about it?
business sense. It was
Okay, can you
transactional
explain
in
that
a
to us?
business. Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think you're
can
really lucky.
because Trump is a businessman. He has a huge persona.
Yeah, again, I think you're really lucky.
Business essential. The girls were trying to get his input and get him to like promote or like give them advice on how to.
They're children.
Just
They were naked. They can't consent to that.
Dean,
How do you know they was naked, Dean?
Hold on.
'Cause he
Can
said
I-
How do
they
you
had
know
no
there
clothes on.
wasn't sitting in a
Can
pair
I,
of
can I
bloomers?
just say something? Hold on. Like, Dean, are you going to listen or are you just going to be like, just.
Oh, yeah, what about that? Or even at the end where they start calling CP art.
Holding her breast without a shirt on?
Who did that?
And
Because, yeah, that's
everybody in
wrong.
the
They should have
world
done
looked
that.
at it?
That's wrong. Bad. Don't do that.
Was she exploited?
Yes.
What by what law?
This all
Yeah,
happened.
the husband says. The husband says,
This all
by
happened-
what law was a 15-year-old that was to pose naked without a shirt on? By what law was that exploit? Let's listen more. Now we're talking about
It's on
some like
history.
actual naked.
It's on Times Square.
Yeah, we're talking about some underage naked teenager with her boobs out in Times Square. Exploitation. She's exploited.
And do you think that
law?
Do you guys disagree? Like naked teenager with her boobs out on Times Square, was she exploited?
Yes.
Progressive
think
thinking.
it's art. I think it's
Now they're calling it art.
beautiful photo
Now they're calling it beautiful.
of a
art.
database
to go
that was
after
on
them.
Times Square
I was
that
gonna
was
do it.
perfectly legal.
You just called child pornography art, by
And
the way.
that
You
was
just called
not
you just called
child
child.
porn.
Don't be
wasn't showing
smug.
any
Do
nits.
not dare be smug. Don't you
I
dare be
can't
smug.
believe that. She literally just called
Don't
CP
be
art.
smug.
That's
Do
why I'm
not
not
be
being smug. That's what she said.
But Dean, what I'm asking you, if it was child porn, do you think that it would be leaked? Because there's laws against child porn. Do you?
So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on all these things that they said? What are they? What are your thoughts, Diddy Sisson? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, Diddy Sisson, thanks for letting me speak. So my thoughts are, that was all said after I posted my video. 1. 2, she's very lucky she gave you, you're very lucky she gave you those clips. I think it was actually, like, she probably could have sued you for the doxing, going after her family. Then she went on there and just said, like, insane things. Not the smartest move, yeah. But the fact that it, like, excuses.
Oh, just not the smartest, dude. Yeah. Calling CPR, not the smartest move. Yeah, saying that parents have the legal right to explain, not the smartest. Saying that an old man looking at a naked teenager is a business transaction because it benefits a naked teenager's career. Not the smart. That's your takeaway?
You advocated for someone to harm a child via doxing. Doxing is literally
I did not dox.
What is using AI facial recognition to pull someone's private info and address?
I absolutely didn't dox. And now you're saying to pull private info? I don't know, man. Maybe if you didn't just listen to the 30-second clip posted on Twitter, you would have heard me explicitly say only go for public info to take to private authorities
It
and
was
not
a
post on the internet.
7-minute video.
Look at you. Yeah, you have to literally change what I said to the complete opposite in order to instantiate a belief that it's doxing. So, yeah, I did a dox. I did a dox. I'll agree. I'll completely agree. I will completely agree. I shouldn't have told my fan base to take that information to CPS. That's either something I should have done on my own or addressed it some other way. I shouldn't have told my fan base to do that. So now that we've agreed that by its legal definition, it wasn't doxing, and you just conceded on this because you said the way that it was doxing was by me saying to find private information to post
I conceded
publicly.
on what?
Even
Are
though it
you
is the case
fucking
that I
shot?
said, what did you just say?
I said, are you shot? I didn't concede on anything.
Yeah, I know you said that I was apparently doxing by telling people to
Yeah,
find
by
private information.
using-
Don't interrupt me. You said that I was doxing by telling people to find private information to post publicly. I explicitly said find public information to take privately to local law enforcement. But I just want to clarify, you are more upset about me telling people to find public information to privately take to CPS than this couple that called C-SPAM art said that it was a business
Post a clip of
transaction.
that. I didn't see that. Post a clip of that.
This is on my Twitter.
Post a clip.
It's on Twitter. I posted it.
I saw the clip of you saying that they said that, but you didn't post a clip of them saying that.
You just
post the
heard it.
evidence. Like, we need evidence.
Everybody
No,
just
you
heard the
said
evidence. Are
they
you
said that.
delusional?
Where they were talking about.
Now they're calling it art.
I don't know what to say about it.
Now they're calling it beautiful.
Of a
Database to go
that
after
was on
them.
Times Square
I was
that
gonna
was
do it.
perfectly legal.
You just called child pornography art, by the way.
That
You
was
just
not
called child.
porn. When she posed on a Calvin Klein poster underage, holding her breast without a shirt on.
Who did that?
And
Because yeah, that's
everybody in
wrong.
the
They should have
world
done
looked at
that.
it.
That's wrong. Bad. Don't do that.
Was she exploited?
Yes.
I don't even know
By
your
what
reference.
law?
Husbands, like, now we're talking about some like actual naked.
She was on Times Square.
Yeah, we're talking about some underage naked teenager with her boobs out in Times Square. Exploitation. She's exploited.
Yeah, sounds like a
you
bribe
said-
parade.
Law.
Do you guys disagree? Like naked teenager with her boobs out on Times Square, was she exploited?
It's
Yes.
degenerate behavior.
I think
Progressive thinking.
it's art. I think it's a.
Naked teenager with her boobs out on Times Square, was she exploited?
Yes.
I
Progressive
think
thinking.
it's art. I think it's.
Oh, the rage bait fails, buddy. The rage bait fails, kid.
Dude, that was after you tried to get the kid harmed after doxing her, bud.
You're now saying that I tried to get their kid on, bro. Bro, see, listen, even he's parroting the same shit. That is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. These crazy people on the right wing are saying that I'm trying to harm children after listening to these people call CP art. Say that parents have the legal ability to consent to their children to be exploited. What is going on? Like, am I just living in this delusion of grandeur? And am I just truly like the worst person ever? And I'm hurting children. Is that me? Is that it? Like, should I not think that calling CP art saying that exploiting minors is a business transaction, saying that parents have the legal right to allow their children to be exploited is wrong. What is going on? And then about doxing. So not only are they falsely misrepresenting this couple as normal. No, they're evil. And we just all listen to their evilness together. Okay. But they're also saying that I doxed them. Legally speaking, I did not dox them. That is not true. 110% false. Okay? The reason that claim is absolutely not true is definitionally speaking, doxing would be the act of taking either private information or some public information to then post on the internet with an intent of malice or harm. Feel free to look that up and fact check me. What I instructed viewers to do was to take public information and privately send that information to local authorities. So what I did was not doxing, definitionally speaking. Fact check me by literally looking up the definition of doxing. Now, do I still defend what I did? No, I shouldn't have told my fan base to take that information to local CPS for about 1,000,000,001 reasons. Okay, but I just had to bring that person up because they're one of the very menaced, ill-willed, delusional, crazy, also evil Trump supporters that are trying to take what actually happened and contort it into a false narrative to make me this bad child harmer pedo. It's insane work. It is crazy fucking work. And feel free, by the way, to go to my Twitter account and watch the totality of that 5-minute and 30-second clip where they talk about how parents have the legal ability to exploit their kids, where they say it's a business transaction to exploit their kids. CP art, what's the law that makes it illegal? Feel free to go listen to that all, everybody. All right, feel free to go listen to that all. And look at now, there's still even people in the comment section calling me the bad guy. Crazy work. Just know that you're defending an indefensible position, all because you see me on the left shitting on your guy every single day with expertise.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's what it is. They're trying to find anything they possibly can to use against you to discredit you. That's what it is. That's because you have credit. You literally have power and you have influence, and people are trying to attack that. And people will make up whatever they can. They'll construct whatever narrative they can to be able to take that down. That's literally Trump supporters doing it. You can literally see them. I saw a bunch of the Trump supporters that we've debated make videos about this. Like, that lawful expat guy? He made a video about it saying the same thing. It's like they're fucking propagandized into doing the same shit.
Oh, I know.
They know it gets views.
Run the script. Lie and get views. Run the script. Lie and got views. See, they're even now repeating it in the chat. Somebody just posted in the chat right now saying Dean doxed somebody because they couldn't answer a crazy hypothetical. Run the script. Lie and get views.
Dude, this is like Russia. This is like Russia.
Dude, we have like Russian misinformation bots in my chat? Oh, no, somebody else says, Dean, didn't you say that the child's consent would be violated? Does this imply that children can't consent? Run the script. Lie and get views. Go listen to that 5.5-minute clip on X where I say that nobody can consent to a child being exploited. The child can't consent and the parent can't consent on the child's behalf. And then listen to the mom disagree with me. Run the script. Lie and get views. This shit's going to drive me fucking crazy, everybody. Oh my goodness gracious. Welcome in, Bober. Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do. And I do focus on points that are somewhat conservative, but I do mix into a little bit of liberalism, I do say.
Somebody in the chat just said, Dean equals bad guy. Run the script, lie and get views. Okay, all right. Take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
So I support Trump in the sense of this past election, just because I don't believe Kamala Harris was the best pick out of the bunch. Not to mention that she was not picked as a primary candidate. She was just given the position.
Okay, so I want to clarify that you support Trump because you think if Kamala Harris was president right now, things would be worse off. So why do you think if Kamala Harris was president right now, things would be worse off?
Mostly because I don't, from what I was able to read up on, most of her policies were just, I don't want to say unfounded, but then also most of her arguments that she did make in between were just fluff of clouds. She was trying to target her fan base. And
you're not giving me a good argument here. Can we be more specific?
Oh, she's just trying to be oh, context this, context that. Ma'am, you're trying to say that something like you're trying to develop a policy, but you're just like wrapping a bow on it and saying it's a policy. You're just
so you just think that
comparing
like
apples
so you
to
just think
oranges.
that his policy was better. So what is one of the policies that she ran on that was really bad?
So I would say that like one of the policies that she had going, let me think of one here. I want to say that like she had brought up tax on tips, but then she never followed up on it and like congressionally at all.
Okay, well,
Like,
she
she
didn't
could've had-
follow up
she
on it
could've had that-
congressionally because she
was
didn't win the
VP at
presidency.
time. So she could have brought that bill up in anyways.
So now you're saying that she was a worse candidate because she could have implemented the policies she ran on while she was serving as VP. You understand every single time we have a person run for the presidency, they're always going to be running on a platform of things they want to do if they win the presidency. So like assume that her and Biden did successfully implement no tax on tips. She simply wouldn't have ran on no tax on tips and would have replaced it with some other economic policy that she didn't do. I hate the argument saying that, oh, well, she could have done everything that she ran on while she was VP. If she did do it while she was VP, then she wouldn't have ran on it.
So you're baking a pie for somebody for a party, but you won't bake it until everybody's there.
That's how presidential campaigns work, is you run on a platform of things that you want to do if you won the presidency. You're never going to run on a presidential campaign of things that you've already done or will do before you win the presidency, because then why should people vote for you to do it?
Yeah, why didn't Trump do everything in his first term?
That's also a very fair argument. Trump didn't do everything in his first term, and I feel like, yes, he did drop some balls on things. And you know what? That happened.
Like, I can mention a lot more
People
for
drop the ball
Donald
on
Trump, and he had more power.
Why he didn't get more power out of that? Well,
no, I said I can mention a lot more for Donald Trump, and that he had more power to enact them at that time than Kamala Harris did.
That is also very true, but either both sides also use their executive and their judicial sides of their force to actually like envelop their policies.
What do you mean?
So I would say Article 42 would be a good example of it.
You mean Title 42? Title 42 was COVID emergency policy.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
What's your point?
So like like Title 42, like they can't enforce that unless they have that actual like judicial and like that actual executive side of things. So like
dude, Title 42 is COVID emergency policy. They can't enforce it unless there's an emergency. Dude, are you okay?
He left.
He left?
Yeah.
Jeez, bro.
Oh, we're going to move on to the next guest. Here we go, everybody. If you're in that queue, make sure that means that you support Trump. We're going to get that next guest up here right now. We got William Tubness loaded in. And yo, Olivia, thank you so much for the $25 donation over on PayPal. Olivia says, you and Parker are great fluffy clouds. I appreciate you for that love, Olivia. If you guys could show some love to Olivia down below, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much, Olivia. As well as Josephine, thank you for the $5 over on PayPal. And then Eduardo, thank you so much for the $20 as well. Show some love to Eduardo down below. They say, please know the number of people who admire you is much bigger. We are here for you. Thank you for the love, Eduardo. That is important to keep in mind. As well as Catherine with the $7 over on Venmo saying, love me some fluffy Harris clouds. I know, me too. We missed out, man. Welcome in, Williams. Do you support Trump?
Nope. Plus, what the fuck happened with my account getting flagged earlier, Dean? That was diabolical. I wasn't even here, and I got flagged. I wasn't even here.
By the way, that flag ended up taking away my guest access.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why I got it back. It was unreal. Yeah, that was insane. That was nutty. That was nutty. What's going on, Joey? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
How old are you, bud?
I do. 17.
Dean,
I'm gonna become
Dean,
a...
you might want to check your YouTube chat, by the way.
Okay, give me a second here.
Someone's spamming. Just like literally the fucking thing you were joking about.
Bro! Dude! Wait, actually? Wait, who's it? I'm actually pretty... No. They're actually spamming something. Let me see what they're spamming. Dean literally said, children can't consent, and now he's coercing and exploiting the mom. Typical P3DO behavior.
That's diabolical.
This has to be a troll, right? This has to be a troll, right? Like they have to be like rage baiting, right?
There's no way they're real.
I can't even believe this. I can't. Dude, okay, we're going to move on to the next Trump supporter. Everyone give us a minute here, y'all. While we get the next guest loaded into the box, we're going to get Ace loaded up in. Phenomenal. Run the script, line, get views, everybody. Can we get a spam, run the script, line, get views down below in that chat? What's going on, Ace?
Yeah,
Do you support
that's
Trump?
what I think we're doing. We got the DNC script. We got to run it.
How's that vape?
Oh, that's great, man. Appreciate you for asking. Big ups, bro. Big ups. Let's go to move on to the next guest. Here we go, everybody. We're going to get that next guest up in the box. Also, guys, make sure that we're double tapping away that phone screen. Let's get up to 500,000 likes. While we load in these, in fact, these did not connect. We're going to move on. Here we go, everybody. We're going to get Lucas loaded into the live. Everyone just give us a moment to get Lucas loaded in. Fantastic. Welcome in, Lucas. Do you support Trump? Okay, Lucas does not support Trump. Lucas actually left. By the way, if you want to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal are in the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds over on those platforms. You could even add a message that I can respond to. I appreciate you guys for the love. Very, very kind. Keeps a show running for 4 hours a day. All right, let's go to get that next guest, Marco, loaded into the live. Here we go, everybody. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
How old are you?
18.
What year were you born in?
2005.
And what time is it?
801.
801, phenomenal. So why do you support Trump?
Oh man, I just love your channel. Do you like to play video games?
I do, man. We're here to debate Trump supporters, though, so I'm going to go ahead and see you later. Moving on to the next guest, everyone. Just do be patient and give us a minute to get the next guest, Calvin, up in the box.
Hello?
Hey, what's up? How old are you?
I am 18.
Do you? What's your birth year?
My birthday is
Birth year.
July 6, 2006.
Okay. July 6, 2006. Wouldn't that be you said you're how old again?
Pretty sure 18.
Pretty sure 18. You're 19.
Or
by
I
the
mean,
way,
I
if that
mean
were
18.
true. Okay. I would kick them.
Okay, phenomenal. Moving on to the next guest, everyone. Just give us a minute. Sorry, man. I'm like double tasking over here.
I just don't have the ability to kick them because I'm on my girlfriend's account.
No, for sure, man. Makes sense. You know, I'm going to repeat this now that we have more people in here about what we were talking about. So there's like liberal influencers that have been parroting these same lies. That like, oh, I doxed this normal father. Mercedes Chandler. Everybody keep that name in mind. If you know who that is, they are still reposting videos saying that I doxed normal fathers with none of those claims being true. There's liberals doing this. Mercedes is one of them. Anne is one of them. These are large liberal influencers that are parroting and reposting
Interesting
these same
association
lies.
you've got there. I wonder what the association is.
I wonder what the association is too. Oh, who could ever guess? Welcome in. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
How old are you?
I'm 24, May 7th, 2001.
And why do you support Trump?
I just like the policies he has. I mean, I don't agree with, there's a lot going on, and, there's a lot of facts that get spread and a lot of not true facts that's been getting spread. And that goes both sides. I hope we can agree to that. That both parties, we're at this point where everybody's just trying to hate on each other, and I've never understood that. Regardless who you support, we should all have.
Nobody lies more than Trump, though. So nobody lies more than Trump. He told over 30,000 confirmed lies during his first term, and the biggest lie that any sitting president has ever told with his denial of the outcome of the 2020 election. Name a lie either larger or more lies told by a single Democrat.
I wasn't on the lies. I was saying that we have a side where both sides are full of hate right now, and I don't think it should be like that. You should be able to choose which side you support as a political party. And all this, and this goes both ways, what I'm trying to tell you. Both sides send hate to both sides.
Okay, well,
and
we're here to discuss.
Just agree with each other?
So we're here to discuss like the rational reasons behind why you support Trump. Like that's just going to be applied from like the debate live and whatnot.
Yeah, like, would you like to give us the reasons that are relevant to you?
Yeah, we're looking for the reasons that are relevant to you and make you a Trump supporter. Parker, you're going to be up here for the rest of the night, man.
Yeah, because we can't get a single guest that just left.
Yeah, you're going to be up here for the rest of the night, bro. Hey, man, for the 9.9 thousand people on TikTok, guys, make sure that we're double tapping. What's going on, Kingsgate? Do you support Trump?
I want to say you're the best guy I ever met. I love you debating. Parker, you're amazing too. And fuck
Appreciate
Donald Trump. And Viva Mexico, cabrones.
But you're a chill guy. You're a chill guy. Appreciate you for coming up. Let's move on to the next guest. We got Devin loading up into the box, y'all. Just looking for a singular Trump supporter, or else we're gonna keep Parker here all night long. Okay, we're gonna have you here till 1 a.m. That's right, buddy. Welcome.
By the way,
in.
everyone, chat. Just want to let everyone know, in case you didn't know, I got my internet just randomly cut out. That's why my live isn't currently on right now. I'll be on tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
You'll be on early, based. I'll be on later, based. Welcome in. What's going on, Phantom? Do you support Trump?
Well, he's the president. What else am I? Who else am I supposed to support?
How old are you?
Does it matter?
Yeah, it does. That answer told me that you're under the age of 18. You are truly going to be here all night, Parker. Okay, let me repeat the rules for Parker's for Parker's expense here. So if you're going to be in the guest request, you got to be at least 18 years old. You got to be an American, and you have to support Trump. All simple rules to follow. I guess in application, very hard to follow. Big Macer, what's going on? Do you support Trump?
No, I do not. But hold on, don't kick me. Don't kick.
I kicked Parker instead of you. How did that even happen? I clicked on your X and then TikTok freaked out. Parker, come back here. You're not done yet. You're not done yet, Parker. You're not done yet.
Yo.
What's up? How old are you?
I'm 18.
What year are you born in?
2007.
Phenomenal. Do you support Trump?
I do, actually.
All right. Yo, Parker, my apologies for kicking you, man. I didn't mean to do that.
I have a question
I get
for you.
kicked so much, chat. I get kicked so much. It's diabolical. It's preposterous, I might say.
It's so
Can you do
diabolical.
me a favor and list 4 accomplishments that the Biden administration has done?
Yeah, for sure. One of their accomplishments was the PACT Act, investment of $800 million into VA expansion, more healthcare benefits for veterans. The second accomplishment of theirs was going to be the Chips and Science Act, which was a $40 billion investment into seed funding for chip producers in America to scale our overall portion of the global production of the chips from 1% 2 years ago to 30% in the next 4 years. A third accomplishment of the Biden-Harris administration would have to be the Inflation Reduction Act. That was a great bill, deficit reducing over the 10-year lifespan of the bill, while also being a multi-million-dollar investment into renewable energy resources and a multi-million-dollar investment into non-renewable energy resources.
Fucking ass hurts. Oh my god, my fucking ass hurts.
What is going on?
You're not done yet, buddy. You're still here.
Dude, what is this, bro?
You're not done yet, buddy. You're still here, kid. By the way, if you actually gotta go, I'm just fucking with you.
No. I don't have to go. I'm just I was just gonna go after the next person.
You're not done yet, kid. What's up, kid? Do you support Trump?
Hi. Yes, I'd actually like to speak to you on a MAGA related, I guess I'd say policy.
Oh no.
It's definitely a new thing, so I have to explain it first. So it's related to, I guess, MAGA, unfortunately, even though I don't think that it should be. But I'm just going to explain it first and say that, so I actually know a lot of people that were affected by what happened at Camp Mystic, personally.
Right.
And I've seen a lot.
I'm really sorry for that, man. That must be really tough. There was how much? 20 young girls that had died, aged 8, 9, 10, 11, 12?
40.
40.
I believe.
It's up to 40 now?
So I believe it was 28 that they found. Yeah, unfortunately, they did not find them alive. And 11, I believe, are still missing. So 39. So it's basically about 40, and that's children 8 years old.
That's terrible.
I wouldn't necessarily, but I wanted to talk to you about this because I've seen a lot of people on social media, and I completely understand the idea that, obviously, if NOAA and FEMA weren't defunded, that we could have done something a little better. As someone who went to that camp myself, I understand how the campgrounds are and that it's in the middle of nowhere, and a lot of those parents of the children did vote blue. But I just have seen a lot of people saying that the children deserve to die because of their parents. And I know that you're a huge creator, and
I don't think that any child deserves to die. No, I don't think that. Anybody that says that is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously agree, and I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a Trump supporter, but I just really wanted you to say that publicly because it's been hurting me so much to see as someone who, knows families that voted blue who were affected from Austin, Texas, which is a primarily liberal city. And I don't think the California fires, I don't think it's fair to say that anyone deserves to die ever. And it's just breaking my heart.
I haven't seen anybody say that. Like, I didn't really see anybody on the right say that for the fires in California. I didn't see anybody on the left say this for the Texan floods. I haven't seen anybody say this, really. Like, it would take a special type of an evil person to say that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos on it. I think it's also because like your For You page is tailored to things that make you frustrated or rage bait. But I know there was one woman who specifically said that they deserved to die because they were white. And there's a lot of people that have been saying stuff like that.
Can you show that to me?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for talking to me about this. If you want to go check my reposts, I actually reposted a lot of the stuff that I saw on it. It's been really hard for a lot of the families to see this, especially as they're mourning. It's very unfortunate. Some people said some hateful things like, if only their guns could float, maybe it would have saved the children. Just
wait. Let's listen to this video together.
Okay.
Died because of racism, not politics. Boom, I said it. I don't give a fuck. And I said no. Nope. Because more YT people will have to DIE in order for motherfuckers to what? CARE. I said what the fuck I said. I don't give a fuck, and minds are here with me. We voted the correct way. You reap what the fuck you sow. Just the night before the flash flood happened, y'all were okay with motherfuckers being stripped.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm going to do what I think all other sensible liberals and left-leaning people would do. That's obviously crazy. That's obviously wrong. That's obviously bad. That's obviously nuts. And she's incredibly harmful to left-leaning movements.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's all I really wanted to say. But please go check out my reposts, anyone who doesn't believe that's happening, because I think we need to stop promoting hate on all sides.
Okay. Just make sure you're also checking the hate on your side. But I'll agree. That's absolutely insane. That's completely disgusting. We're going to move on to the next guest right now, everyone. Just do give us a minute to get that next guest loaded into the box, y'all. Everybody, no debates. No debates yet. Let's go ahead and see what we have next. We're going to go and get the next guest loaded into the live. We got Brandon loaded in right now. Y'all, everybody just do be patient. Still haven't been able to find a debate. Guys, go ahead and drop a MAGA with your age down below in that chat. We'll invite you up. Honestly, at this point, I'm going to start kicking anybody and everybody that doesn't follow the rules. We're looking for one debate. Only one. Really one. We really just want one, quite frankly. Yo, Tethered! Thank you so much for the $50 over on PayPal. Tethered says goat.
No.
I know how infuriating and exhausting it is. Great job. Appreciate
No.
you for the love, Tethered. Show some love to Tethered down below in that comment section. As well as Lauren with a $20 saying grateful for all the time and anguish you spend getting people to think critically. Keep it up. Appreciate you for that love, Lauren. Show some love to Tethered and Lauren down below in that comment section. As well as Angel, thank you for the $5 over on PayPal. Thank you guys so much for the love. And then Garrett with the $10 over on Venmo. Appreciate you so much for the love. Ella with the $5 on Venmo. Appreciate you guys so much. Let's go to move on to the next guest right now, y'all. Looking for one Trump supporter to come up here and have a conversation with me and Parker. Here we go, y'all.
Been waiting all this time.
Okay, they're listening to Old Ye. Chat, what are your thoughts on listening to Old Ye? Like with the whole separate the art from the artist shit. I can't do it. I'm going to be honest, man. I cannot do it. I cannot separate the art from the artist type shit. Like Homecoming is ruined. You know what I mean? What are your guys' thoughts on it? Like, be honest. Like, seriously, no. Like, be honest. Like, can you still listen to Old Ye?
Ooh, we're in.
What's
What's up?
those? Yeah, man. That one's just dude. Like, I think I had an Old Ye song that was on a playlist and it just started auto playing while I was out driving.
Are we
And
gonna debate or what?
Yeah, 1 second, man. And my first reaction was truly, bro. If people hear this, they're gonna think I'm a Nazi. like, dude. Like, there's like so many reasons. Like, I can't listen to Ye anymore. Like publicly or privately. What's going on, Briar? Do you think that you support Trump?
Oh yeah.
All right. Why is that, man?
I like the whole deportation stuff.
Why?
He's also doing really good for my line of work.
So why do you like deportations?
Because if they're here illegally, they should be kicked out.
Why?
I mean, if your car is undocumented and you get pulled over, does it get towed?
Yeah, it does. But cars aren't undocumented
There you
immigrants.
go.
Yeah,
I reject that is a good analogy. I don't think that those two situations are analogous. So the reasons why we don't want undocumented or unregistered cars on our roadways are to prevent the amount of unlicensed,
Why do you not support
uninsured people on the roadways, because that leads to like more death and harm.
Why
on the
don't you
roadways.
support Trump?
What, can we continue to talk about the whole mass deportation thing?
Oh yeah, we can continue. I got all night, buddy. I can talk about this all night.
All right, well, go ahead and give me one way undocumented immigrants hurt America. Since
Do
you
what?
can talk about it all night, name one way that undocumented immigrants hurt this country.
You're gonna have to say it one more time, a little bit slower.
Since you could talk about it all night, okay, name one way that undocumented immigrants hurt this country.
I mean, they're just here illegally. I mean, there's no other. I mean, what else? What other?
So how does them being here illegally hurt this country?
Because that is against the law.
So breaking the law always hurts the country?
Not always. Most of the time.
Okay, well, if it's not an always claim,
But I mean, when you
then
see
that's
the ones
not going to
that are burning
necessitate the
American
conclusion
flags
that they're
and,
hurting this country.
waving
So
their,
how
you know-
how is existing as an undocumented immigrant hurt this country?
So, let me ask you something.
Okay,
You
pivot,
can't answer
deflect.
that question.
No, we can't.
You think it's okay for them to be burning American flags and flying theirs around and
How do you know that they're undocumented? How do you know that they're undocumented?
And to answer your question before you answer Parker's, I sure as hell know it's constitutional.
What is?
Burning the American flag.
Yeah, anybody that burns the American flag should be deported. If you're not proud,
How do you know that they're
Why are you
undocumented?
here?
Wait. Do you think legal citizens who burn the American flag should be deported?
if they burn the American flag, they should.
To what country?
Anywhere else but here. If you're not proud to be an
Anywhere
American,
else but here. So if I go and burn the American flag on the live stream right now, you'd say I should be sent to what country here, sir?
What country should I go to?
Whatever country
CCOT?
you
Wait,
decide to
sir.
go to.
If I burn the American flag, would you support me being deported to the Center for Terrorists in El Salvador?
Yeah, I would. If you ain't proud to be an
So-
American, then you don't have no right to be here, buddy.
So in CCOT, the inmates are beaten and tortured, forced to kneel from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., and if they fall from exhaustion, they're beat by the guards. That's a
that sounds
fact.
like their problem.
So if I burn the American flag, you think I deserve to be sent to the Center for Terrorists and be beaten and tortured?
Cruel and
I think you
unusual
deserve
punishment.
A lot more than that, but I ain't gonna say it on the live.
Well, tell us.
The
What does he
implication there is
deserve?
that you think I deserve
I'll tell
death.
you what. Why don't you go to any small town in Oklahoma and burn an American flag?
Yo, Parker, you got to watch this argument. This is going to be a masterclass. Everybody watching, you're about to watch a masterclass in debate. So you think if you burn the American flag, you deserve death because of how unpatriotic it is, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, what is more unpatriotic, burning the American flag or calling for the termination of the Constitution?
I mean, it shouldn't even be in the. It shouldn't. The Constitution should be changed.
No, I'm
If it's
not
okay to
changed.
burn the
Termination. What is more unpatriotic, burning the flag or calling for the termination of all rules, regulation? He got banned! No! Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, that's so sad. Fuck! Fuck. Oh, man, I'm really sad about that one. I was about to run the best gotcha moment of all time on that loser. Okay? He would have inevitably conceded that calling for the termination of all rules, regulations in the Constitution is more unpatriotic than burning the flag. That's something Trump has done, meaning that he deserves a punishment that is worse than death. Unfortunate.
That's a diabolical take, dude.
Yeah, that's a crazy take.
Because in order to be able to retire the flag, what do you have to do?
You gotta burn it.
You have to burn it. So he says anyone who retires the flag deserves death. That's what he says.
Damn, man. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I really wish that TikTok didn't ban them in that circumstance. Yo, Adriana, thank you for the $7 over on Venmo. Appreciate it, Adriana. Show some love to Adriana down below. Incredibly unfortunate. Dude, we got Liam in our queue. Why is this guy like sitting in our queue like all day, every day for months?
Can we good boy him real quick and then just kick him?
Yeah, buddy. Where's he at? Is he? He might have left the queue once we said that. Fuck. Everyone, give us a minute here, y'all. We're working on a surgical operation for your viewing pleasure. Where's he at? I think he left. Yeah,
He knew he was gonna be good, boy. He knew it.
Yeah.
He,
Oh,
he
no,
saw
he's
it
there.
coming.
He's there. He's there. He's there. Okay.
Hey, speak, mute, or leave the live.
Or don't speak.
Is Parker a backup?
Good boy!
What a
good boy! Good.
Oh my God! What a good boy!
Let me ask a quick question.
What a good boy!
Let me ask a
What
quick
good
question.
boy.
Good boy.
Oh.
By the way, if you're curious, there's a lot of lore there. There's a lot of lore there, everybody. There's a lot of lore. I promise that was justified, and we're just not two crazy libs being unruly. There's a lore there.
I promise you. I promise you.
Yo, Caitlin, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love, Caitlin. Caitlin says, think you'll ever run for president. I don't know, man. Maybe, probably not. But I appreciate you for that love, Caitlin. Harmony, what's going on? Do you support Trump?
Oh shit. Sorry, I didn't realize I joined the live.
No worries, Harmony. We're going to move on to the next guest. Everybody give us a minute to get that next guest loaded into the live.
Speak, be quiet, unmute, or leave the live.
I don't take your demand.
Oh, what a good
back up.
boy. What a good boy. He came back for seconds. What a good boy.
Yo, Harmony. Yo, Natalie, what's up? You support Trump? Nah, Natalie's... Oh, I hear
Hear
you.
me?
Yeah, hi. How old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born in?
2007.
And what month?
July.
I think that... Well, what day of July?
Like the first.
Would
July
that be
1st,
would that be 18 or 19?
Wait, repeat.
July 1st
July
or 7?
1st, 2007.
No, that'd be 18.
That'd be 18,
I'm
yeah.
eight-
Okay. All right. Do you promise you're telling the truth?
I pinky swear.
Okay. Thank you. Why do you support Trump?
I don't really support him as a person, but I do support his policies. Like, I think he's a dick, but I also... Sorry, can I curse on here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You could say that.
I'm sorry. But, like, I don't support all of his policies, but I do support, like, the deportation thing.
Oh, no. Why? Dude, that's a really bad
Why has
policy to
everyone
support.
brought that up today?
No, I like talking about
Well-
it because it's so easy to refute. Like, think about it this way. Let me give you my explanation. Mass deportation is like truly one of the only policies that we've seen in like the last 20 years that has definitively and undeniably placed this country last within every aspect of it. There's no way that an operation of mass deportation benefits this country, anybody in it, or the immigrants, okay? It shrinks our economy, forces laborers out of our workforce, making our producers less efficient. And then on the demand side, it's just forcing 12 million consumers out, and it costs $2 trillion over 10 years to get it done. There's just no benefit reaped from it. It's just undeniably
Okay.
an American last policy.
Okay, the comments are saying I'm 17. I promise you I just forgot to change my bio.
Oh, I don't know. Do you have a driver's license?
Yes, but I don't have my wallet on me.
Well, no, I wasn't going to ask to see it. I just want to make sure that you drive. What does a dotted yellow line next to a solid yellow line mean?
What the fuck are you talking about? What is a dotted yellow line next to a solid... What did you say?
A dotted yellow line next to a solid yellow line. What does that mean?
The road?
Yeah, on the road.
Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to.
Shit, Dean, I don't even know what you're talking about.
A dotted yellow line next to a solid yellow line
No
on the road?
clue. No clue. What is that?
Are you being serious?
I'm dead serious, bro. No clue. What are you talking about, dude?
Chat.
Dude, what are you talking about, bro? What is that?
Is this rage bait?
Dude, what rage bait are you talking about?
Yeah, okay, he's rage baiting. Yeah. he's rage.
I'm about to get off, bro. I gotta get
All
off.
right, buddy. I appreciate you for joining up, Parker. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. It was fun.
All right, everyone. Yes, I was rage baiting. I love y'all. Have a good night, everyone. Peace out, everyone. I'll see
thought-
everyone tomorrow.
I thought
9
he was-
a.m.
9
What's
a.m.
that?
He'll be on early. No, no, don't worry about it, man. See you. I'll be watching you live in the morning, bro. Take care. Take care.
Okay, buddy. Were you gonna say something? I'll be here. I'll hear you.
I was gonna say I didn't think that he was rage baiting when he first said that. Like I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's what we call a passing zone, everybody. All right, guys. I'm probably gonna do just one more guest myself. It's only been like 3 hours, but y'all, I'm tired. I am tired from the war that has been fought for the last 3 days. I'm actually going to leave you guys with some actionable things to do related to that once we, before we end the live, if you want to. Welcome in. Do you support Trump, Brady?
Well, let me tell you this. I don't. Trump's a fucking dumbass. And you guys voted for the wrong damn person. I love you all.
Hey, bro, cook. All right, who's next? We got Mike loading up in here, y'all. We got Mike. By the way, if you happen to be one of the over 15,000 people watching and you're like, hey, this Dean guy's cool, and you want to support me and also support the stream because it's what keeps it running for 4 hours, 7 days a week, feel free to support me on Venmo or PayPal, which can be found in the link tree in my bio on TikTok or in the pinned message over on YouTube. If you do, I'll shout you out, read your name, and any attached messages. Speaking of, while we're working on getting the last guest of the night up here, quickly, Brad with the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat says, while you guys are sitting at home on your asses, I flew to LA with $1 million in this rental passenger seat in a coach duffel bag, couple grand in the lap, about to go drop it at Louis Vuitton. Now I have $1,010, Brad. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. We're going to move on to the next guest. Everyone, just give us a minute. Let's go to see what that next guest has to say. We got NPC loading up in here, y'all. Chris with the $4 over on Venmo. Appreciate you for the love, Chris. I can't read that out loud. Thank you for the love, Chris. As well as Caitlin. Well, I already shouted you out. Thank you, though. What's going on, NPC? Do you support Trump?
I was actually hoping if you could help me with a point MAGA gives me that I can't debate back because I'm not educated on the point.
Nah, fuck it. What is it?
It's about the whole, you know how Trump was doing he was trying to have the children be taken care of or protected because of the sex change. Usually whenever I ask somebody why they didn't vote for Kamala, that's their biggest rebuttal that I can't refute. I don't know much about it.
Okay,
Like
I'm
her
just
whole
gonna give you like the easiest refutation. So point number one, Kamala Harris ran on like no policy that was directed to or inclusive of trans people. I think that was an issue with their agenda, but as it relates to this argument, it makes a point purely propaganda. Point number two here, I'm gonna kick you out while I say this because I do want to just look for a Trump supporter. Point number two, I mean, just we should take an observation here of like where their priorities like lied. Is it in like the 12 trans women in the NCAA or the 17 million American citizens that just got ripped off of healthcare? All right, what's going on, Cadence? Do you support Trump?
No, not at all. I just wanted to know what you think.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for kicking you. I'm sorry. I promise. I'm sorry. I just want one last debate. I'm really sorry. Guys, go ahead and put a MAGA down below in that chat with your age if you want to come up here. I'm going to give up here pretty soon. I'm going to give up. I'm like really tired. I know I'm not letting that on. I'm beat though, bro. I'm not gonna lie. What's up, Eddie? You support Trump?
I know my fetus, Dean, but I love you.
Thank you, fetus Eddie. Stay out of the queue, please. You know what? Sorry, guys. We're gonna end it there. I tried to find one last person to debate. I couldn't, and it is 7:30. I said I was gonna get off by now. I'm really tired. I'm really fucking tired. Let me tell you. But hey, one actionable takeaway I want to leave you guys with for the day is I'm getting slandered everywhere on the interwebs. It is crazy. Being labeled like a pedo. Oh, I'm okay with child's consenting to sex. Oh, I doxed a normal father. Lies. We went over that earlier. But if any of you guys happen to hate that shit as much as I do, now you don't need to do this, but if you want to do it, take the clip I posted on my Twitter, 5.5 minutes long. It's these the couple, the dad and the mom, explicitly repeating that they think parents withhold the right to allow their children to be exploited. And then the wife was like, it's a business transaction because it helps the child that's being exploited. And then somebody else was like, child porn is art. It's insane. It's insane. And the right is protecting these people. The right is labeling these people as normal, as innocent. Right? And like one of the craziest smear attacks I've ever seen. So if you see that, please point out that it's wrong. That's just a big fat lie. Okay? And all the evidence you need is posted over on my Twitter. Every single piece of evidence you need. I even texted the original poster, Sarah, and I said, go check my recent tweet, then delete your tweet. Have a great day. And no response. None at all. Nobody cares about the truth. They only care about furthering their narrative. It's absolutely disgusting. It is so fucking bad. Additionally, there's even some actors on the left that are repeating the same lies simply because they don't like me. Like Mercedes Chandler. She's a creator on here. Let's see how many followers she has. Mercedes. And if you don't use X, the video is also my announcements on Discord. Mercedes Chandler has 535,000 followers. And she's out here like reposting this shit on her second account. That's a liberal. That's like peddling these same lies and calling this couple that said that child exploitation is essentially okay normal. She's out there peddling that same BS. And peddling that same BS. Absolutely insane. So keep an eye on that. And if you see like any like liberal or left-leaning influencers that are engaging in that shit, call them out. Ugh, terrible. So thank you guys. I'm going to go and hop off for the night. I'll see you all tomorrow. If you want the 5.5-minute clip to listen to these people talk about how they're okay with child sex exploitation on the Twitter and in the announcements of my Discord. See you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.